Okay, so let's start with it, but then you gotta get the link and then join.
Okay.
I think we're live now. Pretty sure we're live. I don't know. Fairly certain we are. So I'll go back to them.
What's my leg?
I don't know.
Sick.
Back here, we're figuring this out. We're figuring this out. It's Sunday chill, so we're just gonna do this. Oh, here we go. So there we go. All right, so that's working. Now I need to get this link. How the heck do I share this link? Share content?
You should really do this before you go live.
I know, but I don't care.
More
Participants.
invite.
Invite. There we go. Copy invite link. La-di-da-di-da.
How are you gonna do it? Send it to Maya?
You're just gonna text yourself.
I'm gonna get it on this phone.
No, we're just gonna copy. Oh, I see. Okay, so how do we do it?
Just send it to Maya then.
All right, you do it. We're watching the end of the U.S. soccer game before we really get into this.
Go to her messages.
People. Oh no, I swiped out of the message. No. All right, I think we're good. Yeah. So join the video. There we are. This meeting is being live streamed. Wi-Fi. Yay. Oh, we got to mute shit though. All right, so I'll walk. I gotta see the end of this game.
Okay, so I don't need to move.
No, it's fine. All right. I'm gonna watch the end of this game while Ashley talks. Put my sunglasses back on. We chilling.
I'll sit over here in the sun at my chair.
Oh, no penalty kick. No penalty kick.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
I can't really see because it's so bright. But
so what are we doing today?
just chatting. Who is going here? I want to be able to see the chat at the same time.
Yeah, we're gonna be like off and on this camera so we can look at chat because I'm told we neglect
It's
chat too much.
Sunday. We've been in the pool. We're gonna grill. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm about to live grill. Let's see who's here. Howdy, JK. Howdy,
there's the
10K.
chat. Hi guys.
Hey, Carrie. What's up, dudes?
Yep, we're live.
We're just chilling for a little bit.
Hey Carrie.
We're gonna talk about
Tim. Hey,
anything,
JK.
but
Hey INFJ.
I'm not gonna pay attention to this until the final 5 minutes of the U.S. soccer game's over, though. So
Ben is watching soccer. Then we're grilling. What is everyone else making for dinner today? Hello, Richard.
it's raining where JK is.
Feel free to
Oh,
put in the
shit.
chat anything that you guys want to talk about or any questions that you might have for us. You have any questions?
Should we
Today's-
post the link?
Yeah, let's post the link. I think
I think I can.
you can. We're just hanging out, chilling, talking. Nothing specific, nothing too serious. When the game's over, I think I'm gonna ask some questions for Ben so you can kind of get to know him a little bit better if you are so inclined.
How do I make this grid view?
Should be in settings, I think.
Everything's in settings. Meeting settings.
Switch to gallery view. Well, I'm on gallery view.
I don't see it
Ben.
as an option. So you must be I don't know what's going on. Are we gallery view or not? I don't know. I guess I could lower
We
this.
are. I'm just sitting by the pool.
Score is 1-0 the United
There's my
States.
float.
And we are in the last 3 minutes of stoppage time here. And hopefully the US can pull this out. 1-0. 1-0, as they say. But Canada is just playing so aggressive right now. It's kind of nerve-wracking.
Rudy says Bentley. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Rudy said what? I didn't see it. I didn't hear it.
Could have Ashley, Ben Lee.
Oh, save.
Got a question for Ben? Aces. Wait till this game is over. How much time is left in your game?
There is 90 seconds left according to the clock, but we all know how soccer goes. Could be 2 minutes.
Isn't there like stoppage time and stuff?
Yeah. Well, we're in stoppage time.
Oh. I've never actually really watched soccer until dating Ben. I know nothing about soccer.
Did you tell everybody this is going to be our new Sunday? So we're going to do a Saturday, Sunday show from now on.
You guys get us for the whole weekend.
Yeah. But then I think we'll do less random midweek streams, and we'll just keep it Saturday, Sundays. And I want Candy to be hosting those after parties, but obviously she's sick. So we're doing a chill show for Candy in case she's watching and can have something on the background. She already told me she doesn't have the strength to join. Candy, please don't. I talk over you too much, and you don't have the strength to combat that right now. But I do hope you feel better. We're thinking about you.
Why do I feel like I keep hearing the fence moving? Like someone trying to open the back gate.
No, it's the water filter thing that I got to turn off.
Did you want me to turn that off?
I'll turn it off. It's no big deal. The last 15 seconds here. We don't want Canada to score. Baby, I got it. Oh, they screwed up. They kicked the ball out. Goal kick. That might be the ball game, kiddos.
You don't have to do the whole thing. That's
Might
fine.
be
You
the
did
ball
great.
game.
Good job. Good job, man.
Now I can pay attention to our little nifty chat here.
We're starting dinner. Yep, the game's
Oh, you
almost
need
over.
3 for a gallery view.
Almost
Well,
over.
someone hop on. Carrie has a whopper of a question for me when the game is over. Well,
yep.
The
No one
game,
texted
I
you.
think, the game is now officially over. So I'm going to head over to my gas grill here and start that up and pay attention. I don't think it is too loud if you just yell at me, babe, even though we're on, 20 feet away from each other. Well,
Whatever
I don't
want.
know. I want there's no feedback and stuff. Anyway, we're going to be doing a little grilling. We're going to start this baby off with
Chilling and grilling.
cleaning the grill. So that's what we're going to do first. Oh my God, that's so hot. We're going to have to use the big stick, not the small stick. So what was Carrie's whopper of a question?
Okay, game's over, Carrie. So I'm going to check chat and see which question it is.
Yeah. Little known fact, you should only be using the bristles once the grill is hot like this. I mean, most people know this, but some people don't.
Our viewers would like to know what you're grilling.
We're grilling easy cheeseburgers and hot dogs tonight. Something simple. Something I can do while we do this.
Yep, I spent the morning cleaning out the refrigerator. So it's the cleanest it will ever be, and it'll probably stay clean for one day. So this is an easy dinner. All right, Carrie, what's your question?
Yeah. What's the question?
Okay, the question is,
I need knives.
the anticipation is killing me.
This is a long, drawn out question.
It takes a while for it to shut off. That's all.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Carrie's question. Got me all hyped up. Put that there.
Rudy.
What's Rudy saying?
Rudy says you need to grill cauliflower and pineapple.
Tell Rudy to fuck right off.
I think Carrie's question is about Mike's bet.
Oh, yeah. Don't pay any bets.
Here's the question. Mike made a bet with someone about if the chest was in Wyoming or not, and Mike won, but the guy didn't pay him. Instead, he said he got an email from Forrest Fenn, right?
Right.
Forrest said that he shouldn't pay the bet and things are not as they seem. Do you believe the Forrest Fenn sent him that email?
Forrest Fenn sent Mike's contact that email. It's a complicated question. The first question really is, do we believe that Mike believes in his source? Because I think the obvious question is Mike telling the truth? Yes. Does Mike believe in his source enough to share that as a possible what the heck's going on? Yes. I think Mike believes his source, and I think that's all we can rely on, is that Mike believes it. Does that answer? I hope that answers. So therefore, by proxy, I believe it too.
Good question.
So have you told this little channel family of ours about you? They kind of know about me, but do they know about you, Ashley?
Trusted is still lost from the discussion of Lost last night. FYI.
I'm not getting into Lost tonight.
I don't know. I think my story is not as exciting as yours.
Yo, Trader Joe's packages this meat in the worst way humanly possible. Just FYI, Trader Joe's.
Do not be throwing shade at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is the best grocery store in the world.
That's fine. Package their meat so I can open it.
It's supposed to be fresh. It's packed, it's sealed for the freshness. Just use a knife or scissors.
That's what I'm doing.
You have a butter knife?
Yeah, I have a butter knife.
Yeah, that doesn't help you do anything.
Well, I didn't think I'd be facing this kind of a quandary, but the butter knife worked.
Ah, there goes the pool filter.
Finally. God, that was loud.
So, Ben.
Yep.
Tell me. What about your childhood made you want to go to school and study anthropology and archaeology?
Well, I always wanted to be Indiana Jones, but I never thought I'd actually take an anthropology or archaeology class in my life. And I took that thought right into college. And I just happened to take an anthropology course in college as a multicultural credit. And then I just fell in love. So that's kind of how it went down.
What did it for you? Because I really loved my anthropology class too. I've told you that a bazillion times. But what about it was interesting to you?
I think it's the studying of cultures and how much, no matter where you study, it overlaps. And it feels like the study of anthropology is somehow a pathway into unlocking shit about human nature. So I always found it interesting from the get-go, simply on just learning about our past and how easily you can predict the future from it. I mean, we hear about it all the time, but fuck, it's true.
Interesting. So when you went to college, that wasn't what you wanted to major in? Did you go in undecided? You didn't know what you wanted to study?
I mean, I think I'm a lot like a bunch of other people. I had no clue what I wanted to study. I was lucky enough to get in college. I did not take high school seriously. I got bad grades. I tested well. I did well in the SATs. But it was one of those things where I just kind of left the acting business and was like, okay, I need to get a degree. And I was living in Vegas, so I applied to UNLV, and that's what I did.
Did you apply to other places too?
Initially, when I first graduated high school, and I got into a couple of Cal State schools, but nothing special. And I was just like, meh. And then a year or two later, after finally booking that sitcom, I was just like, okay, I hate acting, so it's time to leave. And at that point, I think I was 20 or 21, and then I decided to go to college. And so I just applied to UNLV and got into UNLV because they have a decent anthropology program. And I took my anthropology course, first one in community college. So once I decided, it is anthropology that I want to do, UNLV's anthropology program was pretty decent. And so it allowed me to stay in Vegas and go learn about anthropology.
Yes, that is a meat that Ben is cooking. Well, that's interesting. I kind of always knew that I was interested in English and writing. But like I said, I took an anthropology class in college and I freaking loved it. You know why I loved it?
Were you an English major?
Huh?
Were you an English major? Were
Yeah.
you the only one qualified to solve the poem according to Jack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, English major. That's why I did such a good job.
Oh my
An
God.
English major with major dyslexia.
Hey, that's okay.
I had another. Oh, you know what did it for me in my anthropology class was when I learned about feral children. That was fascinating to me. Oh my gosh, I found it fascinating that based on
Feral children?
Yeah, how you were
Yeah.
raised, like that
Yeah.
just fascinated me.
I think Netflix is a good documentary of like some boy who's raised by literal wolves.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. No, I read about this one chick that like it was terrible. They just like chained her to a potty chair and no one talked to her or touched her, and she was very messed up from that.
You see how disgustingly sticky this meat is?
Huh?
Nothing. I'm just throwing more shade at Trader Joe's.
Why do you gotta talk smack about Trader Joe's? Trader Joe's is amazing. Trader Joe's is an amazing grocery store because I love how they package small things. I can just get a couple of things and that makes it cheaper and I don't waste a bunch of food. Even though we have a lot of kids and we need a lot of food, you know, especially vegetables, they just go to waste. And Trader Joe's is priced appropriately and they have great produce. Yep. Were those strawberries any good? Yeah, we got to go to a strawberry. What's that called? Like a little stand. They have the best strawberries. I know. When I didn't live in California, I always missed the fresh strawberries from the strawberry stand.
What's chat saying? Any more rando questions for us? I feel like I'm hosting a cooking show, except you can't really see what I'm doing.
Jack, how much did you miss? Just a little bit. We're grilling. We've been in the pool. We've finished watching soccer. So Carrie says that he into college, he took a 200 level anthropology class and loved it. His first semester in college.
They let him take a 200 level class?
Apparently.
That's dope. But yeah, what was the focus in that class?
He says we studied Indians in the Amazon jungle.
So Mesoamerica, essentially. I mean, Amazon jungle's south, but it's interesting.
FU A-hole took Anthro 1401 and 2401. Did okay.
1401?
K-Pro is in the house. What up?
Hey, K-Pro. 1401 is a weird classification to me. Is that like the new college stuff that I'm just not privy to? Like a 401 class makes sense, but a 1401 I don't get.
K-Pro, how's the weather in Vegas? Is it sweltering? Are you in the pool as well? It's pretty warm here in Southern California today.
Yeah, it was a hot one. Good to have K-Pro here, though. Yeah, I was going to say, we're just trying to do a Sunday show. It's very chill. Sunday feels like a very chill day. We got K-Pro stuff to look forward to on Mondays. We go a little rowdy on Saturdays. I figured this little Sunday chill vibe would be good. Let people just talk about anything they want, even if it's Chase related or not. And then on Mondays, we get all the good info from K-Pro. I like it. I'm going to go wash my hands. I'll be right back.
So put in the chat any questions that you might have for us, anything you're interested about. This is like, you get to know Ben and I, if you want. We can talk Fenn stuff, we can talk other stuff, just like you said. What's your question? I don't know, buddy, but you know it's not a time to ask that question right now. I'm just momming. That's what I do all day, every day. Let's see, you guys, we could tell you about our camping trip, our boots on the ground. One of my favorite stories was Ben getting super upset that there was an Airstream at the campsite next to us. We were tent camping and there was an Airstream and they had Christmas lights that they ran from their Airstream and they wrapped them around a tree. Which was, all fine during the day. But then when it was bedtime and we had to go to sleep and the Christmas lights were on, they were just like going right into our tent. And poor Ben was so upset. He was like, we're out here, we're camping, we're supposed to look at the stars. I don't want to look at Christmas lights.
So these Christmas lights piss me off. Wouldn't they piss anybody else off who's camping?
He was so angry. And like, I think at one point he was like, I'm going to take him down.
Why would you do it? I just don't understand. you're not outside when you put these lights up. So you're in your little RV trailer thing. And the lights are just for everybody else who's trying to look up at the sky and get away from lights. Like the fact that these people even gave me a funny look the next day when I complained about them to the Forest Service rangers and they made sure that they took the lights down. Like that was getting dirty looks left and right. I knew I would, but like, fuck you. Don't bring Christmas lights to Yellowstone, you moron.
Yeah. So anyway, Ben was making all this noise, and then we had our kids in another tent next to us, and they thought that they heard a bear.
You need a refill, babe.
Yes, please. And I was like, no, it wasn't a bear. It was just Ben growling. It was just growling at our neighbors. So next night they did put away their lights because Ben went and complained. He told me this was camping etiquette. You know, I don't know all this. I'm not a camper. I'm more of an indoorsy person. Being out by the pool is the most outdoorsy you will ever see me get. In fact, I stepped into the pool today. Like, I wear my swimsuit all the time. I lay out all the time, but actually getting into the pool, not so much. So today I stepped into the pool. I'm saying it like the poem. I stepped into the pool and my kids were like, Mom's in the pool. Don't splash her. Don't bother. She's in. Is she getting in? Is she staying in? Oh my gosh, she went under the water. It was like, it never happened. So they were they were stoked. And then I floated on my little float out here for a while. See my little Barbie golf cart. So floated around on there with my boys. But yeah, I don't often get into the pool. I'm a chick, you know, like I have a whole hair washing thing.
Did K-Pro say it's raining in Vegas? And is JK also from Vegas?
Yeah, it's raining, but they need it. It's still 100 degrees.
About how it's raining. Who cares? But now I get it. It's raining in Vegas. It is monsoon season, though, right? I mean, I remember living in Vegas. We would get those crazy ass storms. Kind of. I guess it would be more in August than it would be middle of July, though.
You know, I had family that lived in Arizona that I go stay with sometimes for a while. And I remember monsoon weather in Arizona too. I guess it happens there as well. Like are you talking about those storms that come in where it's hot, like the wind is blowing like crazy?
Kind of sort. I mean, monsoon season, at least the way I wasn't a weatherman. But monsoon season for me was always just these giant squalls that would come in. And you know, all you'd see is the black of night approaching the Las Vegas Valley. And for the next hour and a half, once those clouds got over the valley, it was just brutality, hail, rain, lightning, wind. But then, you know, an hour and a half later after that, it was sunny, like nothing had happened.
Uncle Titus says, I was the guy with the Christmas lights. I did not know they offended you.
Well, right. While I doubt that was you, if that was you, you should have been wise enough to understand that would offend anybody. I didn't come to see anybody's Christmas lights in Yellowstone. I came to see the stars.
I'm the guy that would shoot the generator. That's what Tom says. I know. I mean, I think that Ben, okay, I'm going to tell him a little bit. I think he took them off the tree and put them on the floor. He couldn't figure out how to unplug them. I think he would have if he could have.
The girls wanted me to slice the band of lights, like the LED lights that they were using, just use my knife and just cut them off. But I didn't want to do destruction of personal property. But boy, oh boy, was that tempting.
Trusted, can I speak like the Valley Girls did? I mean, I am a Valley Girl, so I feel like I'm just speaking like me, and this is how we spoke, right? I don't know. Is this how I talk?
No, you weren't really. Then? I mean, you might sound like a Valley Girl to someone who's like, oh, look at that bottle of vodka. You might sound like a Valley Girl to someone who's not like from the Valley, but like anybody who's actually, never mind. Anybody who's actually from the Valley, there's a different twang to the accent that you don't have. Hi, it's a little bit more. Hi.
Well, there you go. Ben's doing the impression for you.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did that. I was more like I was telling my daughters, I was more of the teenager that thought cheerleaders were annoying and cheerleaders suck.
They were all your friends. Yet they were all your friends.
I know I could be friends. Listen, I was friends with my cheerleading friends. Didn't suck. They were cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I was friends with them, but I didn't do any of that.
No, my
I don't know.
opinion of those cheerleaders.
I was like the most social, antisocial person. I think that would that describe me?
Yeah, that describes me. I would just jump from group to group. So I wasn't really necessarily antisocial, but I was never one of those that like wanted to be with the cool kids in particular. I didn't give a shit.
Did you bring me my drink?
I put it over here. I'm getting rid of the bugs right now. Hold on. Get you a drink. Hold up.
It doesn't like bugs, especially bees.
Although when we camped, it was fine.
Thank you, baby.
I don't give a shit when we camp about bugs.
What else did we do that was fun when we were camping? We saw a lot of bison. That was really cool. You guys, it was very cool. Just driving through Yellowstone and then pulling up right when those buffalo are just chilling right by the road staring at you. That was pretty cool.
K-Pro, yes, I did get an email back from Jack, actually. I'll go upstairs before I put this meat on. And
Yay!
I will, I'll read off the tiny little email he sent me. I thought I was on the outs. We all kind of thought he had cut me off there. Doesn't look like it, but the answer he gave me onto this particular email was almost like he's not even trying anymore. Not like in a, oh, he's just giving it all away, but like, I don't know. I sense a disturbance in the force. We'll see here. Hold on. Let me get this. A-dooby-doo. A-dooby-dooby-doo. There's Jack. All right. So the email that he responded back to, and maybe I can do this. Email responded back to was, when did the why didn't I think of it moment happen for you? If there were a couple of those, I'd love to know more. I'm going off the basis that you share. What the fuck was I even saying?
When did you send that email?
It's weird. I sent that at 7:33 2 days ago. I think I did that in the middle of the stream. Anyway, he writes back, once when I initially considered the solution, and again, when I felt I had enough evidence to make it definite. Now, it's interesting, when I click that, okay, that goes away. So he didn't, I thought for a second he put a space in between the E and the T, but he didn't. Either way, no period. And by the way, when you highlight it, it doesn't stop at the E, as in there's a space there. See, watch. He's putting an intentional space in the email with no period.
Oh, I don't know about that, Ben. I mean,
there's a space to be highlighted. It's a space that's being highlighted, meaning that space was created by the user, meaning Jack intentionally put a space and didn't put a period. If there was nothing, if he just ended it after that sentence, I wouldn't be able to highlight past the letter. I'm just, look, I don't know what it means, but it means something.
I don't know if it means something. Is he doing it in all of them? Have you checked? Is this something new? This is the first I've heard you say this nonsense.
I think he has, but could be right. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't.
I mean, it just could be habit. Like, you know, I don't know.
Where'd the cheese at?
Do you want me to get it?
Yeah. Well, not now, but at some point.
When do I need to start the fries?
Oh, like now.
Okay, let me do that. I'll bring the cheese.
Any questions in the chat?
I'll look when I go inside. It's hard to read in the sun.
I know, right?
Ooh. Oh, here's my dog.
What up, Playa? You want to say hi to everybody?
Sugar.
I'm gonna flip it. Say hi.
She knows she's on camera.
That's little JJ.
Hey guys, ladies, I don't know if anybody has an air fryer, but I got an air fryer on Prime Day.
Yeah, that's little D.
Can someone tell me how to use it? I gotta figure out how to use it. Apparently, you can make a bunch of stuff in here, but I don't know. I haven't played around with it yet. Can we get fries?
All right, so Carrie asks, tell Ben he should have done the Forest Fenn too far to walk maneuver on the camper tires. Hey, what's up, Davio? How cool you two made up. Oh, yeah, me and Jack. I wouldn't say we've made up. You know, I don't remember if that was the email that I sent when we did that live, when we wrote the question out. But, you know, there were about 4 emails there that he didn't respond to. And it took him roughly 2 days to reply back to me on that one. Are we made up? Or was the relationship never as good as I once thought? And he's just kind of getting over this shit. I don't know, but something seems afoot. I just don't know what. Jack's comments will, once people need to come to a realization that Jack's comments will not help you. Perhaps it's already happened and is why we now have people evaluating his punctuation. This too shall pass. Shiny, I got to tell you, I've been evaluating his punctuation since day one. He's a writer. Look at every single email this dude writes. He uses better grammar than most people do in an everyday sort of thing. And if you actually look at his emails, there's nothing but periods and commas and almost run-on sentences, or at least what seem to be run-on sentences. He knows how to structure a sentence. The man leaving off the period at the end of each sentence means something. Again, somebody brought this up in Thor, and I love it. Dr. Pepper didn't have a period after the doctor because it wasn't a real doctor. And Fenn himself talks about Dr. Pepper. To me, that's the best link I've seen for this no period thing. I don't know what it means, and I don't know if I'm right, but the fact that Dr. Pepper didn't have a period after doctor, and you know, Fenn really focused on Dr. Pepper in this chase, it sticks out to me. I don't know if it means anything, but it sticks out to me. All right, I'm gonna put this back down so I can get back to grilling. Oh, I need a spatula. You want to go get me a spatula, bro?
Yeah, what is it?
Ask your mama.
Oh, I think I know where it is.
You think you know where it is? Well, then tell me. Please, because I need one. And all these people are relying on me to get that spatula. My grill smells like gasoline still. That doesn't make sense. Burn that shit off or something. All right, what else is going on? Remember, guys, we are chilling. It is Sunday. It is Chill Sunday. That is the theme of this show and will forever be the theme of this show is Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening chill. So, yeah, you're helping by watching, dude. Jack isn't doing anyone any favors. He's a passive-aggressive attention seeker. I will not argue that, Goldilocks. I think if anybody does a research dive into all of his old postings, you'll find, I don't know about attention seeker, but there's certainly a level of passive aggressiveness that comes across. I think all of us would have some of our inner psychologies that showing to the world if we were writing internet columns for all to see. And certainly seems like Jack showed his true colors a few times. Did you guys know that Jack, and I'm just going to say this out loud. Did you know, hey, Jay, go inside just for a second. I'm going to wait for a minute here. Did you know that Jack is a sperm donor? I'm going to let that one sink in. In 2012 or 13, I can't remember which one, he's writing a column when he was living in Brooklyn. And he wrote a column about basically the point of his column was the experience of being a sperm donor. So he writes about the whole process, the signing up for it, how much he gets paid for doing it, the very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hospital-like nature of the whole process. He goes into a small waiting room. I mean, he talks about it in detail. The guy did it. He was a sperm donor. So I found that interesting in my rabbit holes of just trying to read as much about this dude as possible. If there's not much about him online, the best thing we can do is go look for things that at least he's said. That's what he did for Fenn. So why wouldn't we do that for Jack? And one of the fun things was this whole sperm donor thing. Amongst his variety of crazy articles that he's written, this one kind of stood out to me. Hey, babe, didn't I tell you another article that Jack did aside from that donation thing? Yeah. Jay's back out here. I don't want to. He wrote something else, and I can't remember what it was.
We found that really great website.
Yeah, there's a website out there that keeps track. What's up?
You're probably talking about Lost.
No, we're not talking about Lost. There's a website out there that keeps track of kind of all the writings these columnists do in that in that point of time. And I can't remember what it's called, Mud Rack or Mug Rack, something like that. But anyway, it was weird. Anyway, it had I don't know, probably 15 or 20 articles that Jack has written for a variety of different outlets, whether it be BuzzFeed or The Onion or Wonkat. It's all there. So it's interesting. New rabbit holes that Capo asks. That's the most tame part of Jack's past. The fact that there's a little Jack running around out there that maybe our Jack doesn't know about. And that's the most tame spot. That's interesting. What's up, Lucky? Is Five Leaf here? What's up, Five Leaf? It was good to have you on the other day. I know you were one of the other ones that I had talked to on Thor, and we didn't necessarily see eye to eye, mostly because the way we talked on Thor had something to do with your solve and your explanation of your solve seemed to float in the same realm as other threads that I had read, which is, here's the solve. This is the solve. There is no other solve before my solve. This is the solve. And I just, unless you have the chest, I don't know that you have a solve. And so that's why you and I, Leaf, went back and forth a lot. So it was nice to have you on the channel. We didn't get into it. We didn't need to. And I think that's cool. And again, the theme of Sunday Chill here is more meta for the whole chase, which is we can all get along, even if we've fought online. Like, there's room here for us all to kind of see eye to eye. So I appreciate you being here, Leaf. If you want to do a show maybe one day about your solve, I'd be totally willing to have you on, as long as you're cool with me critiquing in ways that I'd see points that need to be critiqued. But if you saw with Josh Jordan, I'm willing to listen. I think it's time that even if we never saw the same level of what was going on in this chase, maybe it's time for someone like me to listen to someone like you, and maybe it's time for someone like you to listen to someone like me. I don't know, but I think it's cool that you're on our channel last night. So I just wanted to bring that up.
I don't know. I just think this, that, or the other.
Oh, let's have that.
At the same time, also really good about listening and hearing someone.
Baby, I think you're muted. I think you're muted. I don't hear you.
I just muted. Oh, I muted myself. Oh well, I don't fucking remember what I was even saying. Anyway, I'm just saying Ben is a good person to debate. You're a good person to debate and talk with because you listen, but you also don't let other people get away with things when you know that there's concrete evidence saying otherwise.
And it might not even be concrete evidence. I think there's lots of times where, specifically, let's talk about another search or solve. Even my own solve, I don't want my solve critiqued. Nobody wants their solve critiqued. And so even if I don't have necessarily evidence, I can see holes or avenues either that you saw and took advantage of, and I go, holy shit, I never saw that before myself. That's awesome. Or I'm going to go, hey, did you think about this or this or this? I want everyone's solve to be right when they tell me they're solved. I will break down fast if it's not giving me the aha moment, or you're not giving me some kind of proof behind it at this point. So again, this is more to Five Leafs, but anybody who is out there puts out a solve, I'm right, y'all are wrong, that's fine. I'm prepared. I didn't get the chest. I'm ready to be told how wrong I was. But I don't think there's any use in talking about solves unless you have proof. And by proof, that means whatever Jack provided. You have to beat that bar. So whether we like the bar or not, the bar to beat is Jack with a photo of the chest and the man who hid the chest. That's the bar we have to beat. So
is that why you started emailing him? Like, why did you start emailing him? And what were you thinking?
why'd I start emailing Jack?
Yeah. What do you think you were gonna get back? Like, what was your
I think
thought
part of
process?
me wanted to email Jack because I thought this felt like a part 2 to the whole chase in general. And when I jumped in, it was, right at the very end. I didn't get to say anything to Fenn. I wrote one email to him, and that's it. And I planned on mentioning the fact that we, had met each other in the past, but I didn't want to do it in the first email. I wanted to see if the guy would write back to me. And, lo and behold, a week and a half later, the chest was found. So I never got the opportunity. So I think there's a large part of me that was like, okay, well, I didn't get the opportunity to do this with Fenn, but whoever this Jack dude is, whether he found it or didn't find it, he's been put in charge of something here. And I wanted to not miss the opportunity with Jack, especially if he did find it. I wanted to hear about the story that he's deciding not to share. I haven't learned anything more really, but that was the intention.
So Shiny Blackwell says it's not really discussion. It's letting people with wrong solves talk it out for their own mental health. It's kindness. Everyone knows they're likely wrong. It's an interesting way of looking at it. I think that maybe, do you think, Ben, maybe there is something in talking out your solve and then hearing the contradictions and then finally accepting, like hearing it from multiple people and finally accepting, okay, maybe that wasn't it. Maybe that's not right. Maybe I've missed this clue or hint.
I mean, yeah, sure. But people don't react well all the time in this chase. You don't get the situation of, oh, well, thank you for all the differing opinions. I get it now. You're right. I wasn't seeing that. My solve is wrong. I got to go back to the drawing board. You don't find that too often in the chase. I don't find any history of that in the chase, including myself. I didn't really have a chance to really discuss myself with anybody because I was a lurker. But anytime I saw people discussing solves online, before I decided to start intervening myself into these conversations, it was the same old, same old. It's just, it gets old. And I think that's to a lot of people's points now at this juncture in the chase. Talking about solves is just excruciating. I'd rather just blow my brains out.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel because I didn't come up with, who's joining us? Oh, Five Leaf, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the panel.
Hey.
Zoom. What's up?
Hey,
What's going on?
I just got hacked again. They said I called myself insane and said I was fun or something. That wasn't me, swear to God. So, oh, and I already changed the password last time this happened 2 days ago.
And someone's still fucking with you.
They did it with the password. Wow, I'm impressed, man. Thanks for whoever you are. Thanks, man. I'll glue that sticker to my vest.
Oof. Well,
whatever.
I will say, hearing from a lot of people out there, it does feel like at least those people who thought they were getting close to the truth do seem to be getting messed with. I don't know what's true and what's not true, but Leaf has been mentioning
it's other people who believe they're close. It's just other people that believe they're close. That's all.
So you don't think
it's
this
not
is
that
anything
I'm
from the family or just whoever's in charge of this chase? You think this is just other searchers who don't like that you're getting close?
I have a feeling who it is. The last one they did on the other show 2 nights ago was about Douglas Preston. And I've never mentioned that name. I never talk about it. That to me, it says a lot. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, clinically insane is what they said. That's funny.
Well,
but
whether or not you're on
I
the
don't
right
know.
track,
I think I have pretty good. Yeah, I got good evidence.
I will say when you and I got into it on Thor, if we got past those first couple of messages back to each other where I sent you something like, I didn't say this, but let's pretend I did, hyperbole. Fuck this guy and his solve. He doesn't have any proof. I'm so sick of this shit. Like if we got past something like that, and then if you wrote me back something that says, hey man, I don't know what you're talking about, like blah, 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 blah. If we could get to that next level of conversation, you and I would have decent conversations. Like I even remember we talked about you on the guitar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I thought that was cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like every now and again, you and I would get past some of that bullshit, but I don't know if you're on the right track. I hated the idea that we would have to use the periodic table. But you got a fan in here, Davio, he agrees with the periodic table. And I got to start going, shit, maybe the periodic table was part of it. You know what I mean?
I have leader clues. Yeah, leader clues to it. Clues that lead to it.
Okay, clues
So
that,
they
right.
tell you that-
Right. Yeah.
There's
Either
clues
way-
that tell you to not only graph the poem left to right, top to bottom, and do certain things, but there's other clues that say A equals 1, and then there's a clue that says jump to periodic once you do A equals 1 through the whole poem.
Right.
So 24 lines times 4 lines equals a 576 generated alternate text lines. And you pull boron, B-O-R-O-N, and it tells you to go to the table of elements. I mean, what's the problem, everyone? It does. It just does. It's in a fixed system. It's in a poem that's supposed to last 1,000 years or whatever, and it seems to be a good fixed point system. And if you find something in it, it kind of supersedes everything he talks about, because he took the time with a whatever computer and typed it out and made his poem for years. So it's really the only place I considered looking.
The whole idea
Plus
of
graphically
that we have to simplify shit with a poem that's hypothetically not, now this could be a salesman talking, but like a poem that he thinks is going to last 100 or 1,000 years doesn't work with it's simple. So I have taken a step back on some solves and gone, hey, maybe it is complicated. Maybe that's the point. He couldn't find an encryption that would work for everything, but he found a way to circumvent people hopping on their computer and just running it through a bunch of ciphers and programs that pick up on this kind of thing. Like, yeah, all those will fail, but it does feel like in your solve there isn't, like, at the very least, there's a story to it. There's a level of encryption that involves using imagination and trying to understand what Fenn would want to do to hide something. And it's not necessarily a puzzle, but your kind of solve at least answers why no one would have just found this out right away.
Well, it's like stegonometrics, right? It's like a study of steganography. You're pulling an alternate message out of a straightforward message, right? So when he says it's simple, simplify or whatever.
Someone could argue steganography was hinted at too by Fenn. You know, when he's photoshopping photos just of stupid shit of, you know, Skippy in the car or whatever, like, it's not technically steg because he's not hiding anything in the image, but he's almost preparing you to go, hey, if something's hidden in an image, you should understand the concept of steganography. So I like it.
Stegographic. Yeah. And that, yeah, we found that, and Susie found that in that one identification card picture. But it's pretty neat because I think that it's simple to me because all the wrong answers are what seem complicated. So the right answers seem like they take less time, and I've already been done for years. Right. And the complicated answers seem to take a lot of time, and everybody's still going.
Right.
Or the wrong answers.
Yeah,
that's like another way to look at it.
It's almost designed that way. Like, yeah, you get the wrong answer, and you're getting sent down a rabbit hole you're never going to get out of.
Well, there's deniable encryption is actually a Wikipedia term. I found it. I'm like, what does it mean when a...
Yeah, I saw you post that. And you know what? It's absolutely a fucking term. It's spot on.
Yeah. It is actually how you design, you know, a dozen or whatever. It's one or more, two or more endings that if you were to be interrogated and kidnapped and tortured, you could give wrong answers that would take, 3 weeks or something and buy time, and pilots that can get shot down from that, not CIA, just the pilot that can get shot down in a war zone would probably.
Right. Yeah, I agree. He doesn't have to be CIA to be trained on how to deal with that.
Right.
I personally think he but he doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've shifted in the solve. I've shifted from trying to express it in a text field to graphic now. I've drawn little pictures and annotated things, and they're in about 6, 7, or 8 single images. I can represent the entire volume of what I have available on the internet. Like anything I've given yet, there is a point beyond that I have not given. There's a reason for that.
Mhm.
And of course, you know, I'd love to release some book. It's up to about 700 pages right now.
Wow.
And it shows all the wrong paths, all
Right.
the wrong
Okay.
paths off of what I took. Then the epiphany and the moment that I saw to jump to the next path, and it's all detailed. And, you know, about every 3 pages, every 3 to 5 pages is a clue, you know, a fairly solid clue. And then the work, the volume is additive to where all of it fits together, and there are about 150 or more.
So let me ask you this without giving too much detail away. The blaze, for instance, right? We're told it's broken. In fact, Cabro had a good question. You know, if the blaze wasn't broken, how long do you think it would have taken someone to solve the poem and get the treasure chest? A year, or 2? It seems, according to the official story, the blaze was broken fairly early on in the chase. Did you come across a broken blaze? Or did you come across something completely different? Fuck this broken blaze shit. It's bullshit.
Well, no, the cipher makes the blaze, and the blaze is damaged because it's cracked. It's a cracked encryption. That's why it's damaged. It's cracked.
It's damaged once you find it because you've cracked the encryption.
Yeah, and
I like that.
The reason
I like
Jack
that a lot,
said,
actually.
The reason Jack said he's a genius, Forrest called him a genius, is because when you solve it and you see the word Mensa right under gasoline, Mensa is the Genius Society. So
right.
Forrest is calling you a genius when you pull Mensa out of the poem. So, like, I can give you.
I like that. I like that. And see,
150 answers why.
Interesting. Someone, I think Carrie asked a good question. I don't want to jump from topic to topic, but that's what we're doing. It's Sunday chill. But Carrie asked a question. Where was it? Say again?
I haven't been following the chat.
No, it's so hard to follow this chat while you do this. I've learned that the hard way. It's like, woof.
Yeah.
God, he said, I thought you said something pretty good. Oh, maybe it was this. Plot twist. Nature didn't destroy the blaze. Forrest Fenn did. And I want to play into that quote a little bit, because Jack's quote is, a force of nature broke the blaze. Couldn't we call Forrest Fenn a force of nature? Hypothetically. I mean, let's assume that the blaze is a cipher and you crack it. Once cracking it, you've now destroyed it. Let's assume
in
that's
America,
still the case, but
a capitalist, sure, but in other places, no. I mean, I don't know. A force of nature. I guess, yeah. He's a rare birth. He's a rare baby.
Way to think about it. Because the implication there would be that Forrest Fenn himself damaged it.
Well, he didn't go out in the field, man, for the last 5 or 6 years. I'm sure of that.
Right. If he was to damage the blaze, my opinion, it would have had to have been when he created the blaze, and then his last act was to then damage said blaze. It'd be tough to understand why Forrest Fenn would damage his own blaze, unless it plays into the line that Jack gives us about ambivalence to being found, that Fenn damaged the blaze just to make the chest that much harder to find. I don't know.
Well, I think Jack seemed a little bit fixated on the blaze.
He does. He does. And it seemed to be what caused him the most.
And all this stuff more than a clue. And I told some friends of mine, what if the blaze is a person? What if I'm the blaze he's referring to? And they're like, yeah. I was like, okay, let's pursue that. But it seems like he's saying a lot in like the blaze and the crack damage, and to me, it just kind of looks like a certain thing. Somebody asked me here on chat, do you think there's still a chest to find, or do you think Jack found it at your spot? No, I don't think there's any more money available outside left anywhere. It's just not out there. There might be pieces or tributes or whatever, but it's not going to be like $1 million or more dollars.
The only thing I think that's still out there is that ring. I think the ring is still
my spot was actually dug. I posted pictures. a while back. That was September 2019.
How deep was it dug?
It had about a 6 foot by 3 foot hole in the ground, kind of a square area that had been dug and backfilled. There were a lot of lithics, little quartz chips that were, and chert white flint that were left behind from some ancient site. So it is on, there are lithics,
So there is
man,
something,
you know what that is.
there is
so,
something at the site other than a chest, hypothetically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something else in the area.
So have you entertained
I'd
anybody
probably-
else to solve, or are you just set on yours? And that's not like a loaded question. I'm just curious.
Well, the only thing I would consider would be a better cipher at this point. And I know there's a lot of back and forth on ciphers and all that, but I did a little chart of 4 different things Fenn said about ciphers. Well, one of them has to do with the existence of the cipher itself. The reason I found deniable encryption as a definition, as a multiple path ending to a cipher in general, not just the chase, is because I wanted to see if the existence of a cipher in something can happen by chance. So I ran a lot of distribution on that, and I found that it would be pretty hard to take just 8 letters or characters and run them through a poem like that and come up with gasoline and Mensa in succession after the poem itself says to be, ablaze and wise, very corresponding words. Then other things like the word garden came out.
Right.
And there is a garden in the area.
There is a garden.
Yeah, there's a home. There's a ancient site that's called a home on a map, but it's not there. And there's a bunch of shit going on with that.
You haven't been able to find that in any other older maps or anything like that?
No, and in fact, the 2010 version of the Canyon of Lador South, which is COD as an acronym, COLD, Canyon of Lador.
I like that. If you're brave and in the
and,
cold, in the canyon of, I like that. Okay, keep going.
Gold also means something. Nearby, half a mile away, is the gates of Lador, GOLD. So it's all there.
That's a good answer to.
It's not
what I like that is that it solves one clue, right? Like Raven in the cold, but it also solves another thing by saying, just as I've gone alone in there. In there, I always go, yeah, okay. He goes into Yellowstone, or he goes into a state. But if he actually goes through gates into a canyon that can acronym to cold, that's fucking intriguing to me.
It's treasure warrior. But yeah, clues that can kind of back wrap and grab each other and kind of link along seem to be where I'm at, and I'd have to see evidence of that. I do not stop people from just flying along with their stuff. I get into it. I'll kick in and get into it too. But mine.
I'll tell you what. Let's save the rest of it for where we actually do like a Fenn show. I want to have you on, and let's do like your whole solve that you want to share. Whatever part you don't want to share is fine. But I think it'd be cool to just get into it a little bit more in detail with you. I want to make this show a little bit more chill, so I don't want to get too deep into solves. I think it's dope that we can even go over it and get along. I think you and I are in a much better spot than we were online. So, like I said, I think this is very cool. Does anybody else have a cipher that can beat 5 leaves? Because he said the only way he's going to entertain another solve is if you can beat a cipher that looks and pops out more to you. So, if anybody does have a cipher they want to come on.
If you can tell me why you picked a cipher and it tells you somehow in the books or poem in the volume of Fenn's work relating to this, why you picked the algorithm that caused your cipher, and then your cipher in turn goes into poem, book page, anything. I would say poem. I have to be a little more in the dead zone of the ground zero.
Right.
But let's, you get something out of the poem that says, say, wise Blaze would be, I don't know, IQ, just letters like that, and then a blaze being like, signal peak fire or something like that, some, historical thing. And it says more, it opens up more things below that. Then I would say, yeah, because it's got to be unlocked out of the poem because of that. Y'all were talking about this, the, pretense, the present and the past tense, and the poem tells you something once you find that, and then it goes on down. So yeah, but the mere existence of a cipher is one thing, and then it's backed up by, he said, decipher the poem, and then that's all I had. And then Susie's clue in the book showed this highlighted region of the tape running down the left on the ID card. And it was the sodium clue, which is one of the elements in the blaze. And the elements in the blaze touch. They're all contiguous. They touch one to the next in a chart full of about 100 something little squares. So it's pretty neat.
Hey, Ben, sorry to interrupt, Lively, but what's the ETA on dinner so I know when to make the rest of the sides?
First of all, I do think that's neat, Blaze. ETA on dinner, I don't know. These things are pretty much done. I just got to put cheese on them, so I need cheese from you.
Okay.
I like it. All right, Blaze. Figure out what you want to share for like next Saturday's show, and we'll get into it.
Yeah, just share like 4 pictures, man.
It'd be fun to go over images, like get images, get video, anything that you can of the spot that you liked. I'd love to see, that hole dug in. It reminds me a lot of what the heck was his name? He's on Little Gregory's channel a lot. I think Scott was his name, the guy who was digging, I think in New Mexico, and then was arrested or whatnot. He claims that someone else dug his spot too, but I have a hard time believing that. So I would like to see your spot that's been dug. Because did you do digging before, Blaze?
Digging? Where?
At your
or
spot?
Like
did you dig, or was the only was the fact that it was dug into a hole done by someone else? You knew it couldn't have been anyone related to you because you didn't dig. Is that fair to say?
No. In fact, it landed in a thing which was butt up against a tree. And then the offset clue was 20 east, and it was 20 feet east of that landing point of the coordinates. So it had an offset at the very end for the last 20 feet.
Well, when you bring it all
built
on,
in the column.
One thing I want to look at.
Yeah, I can.
When you do it, one thing I do want to study deeply, less of your solve and just more of how you justify when Fenn says no ciphers. Now, I know that's a loaded statement. I'm sure many have said it to you online already, and I'm sure you have answers for it. But
I have one thing against and 3 things in favor of the cipher, according to Fenn himself. Okay.
Well, why don't you just give him now then?
Right now, cipher. Okay. So I count the existence of a cipher decryption as one piece of proof because it exists. I count his saying to decipher the poem in so many words. That's not verbatim. He did tell somebody decipher the poem in an interview.
I've read that.
2. The one against, I'll take the one against him since he said like 17 different things don't work and ciphers was one of them. I'll take that as a negative. So that's 2-1 now. And finally, what makes it 3-1 in favor of ciphers is his TTOTC inset cover book clue of the ID card that says cipher down the left side in this yellowed highlighted area. So it's 3-1 on that right now. I can actually, if I have to actually start with making sure people would believe that he said to you to do a cipher, then I will do that first. When we do that.
I think that's a big thing. And I'm just speaking for myself in terms of just gut knee-jerk reaction to a solve, especially one that includes ciphers. we mostly fall back on
Yeah.
that quote where he goes no ciphers. So, I think to your benefit, I think to lead off with, listen, I hear you when he says no ciphers. Here's why I'm saying there's still ciphers. I think leading off with that is the most important.
Sure.
Then it allows people just to accept the possibility.
Well, it might cause people to turn on their part of the brain that says, I can accept something and maybe memorize it rather than sleep through it, So it is important to set that up, Definitely.
What are your thoughts on the ciphers and what Fenn says versus what he said to do versus not do? Like, I mean, are we saying that Fenn, I feel like I've heard Fenn gave people contradicting advice. So what does that mean for ciphers or not using them or not using them? Like I've heard people in the chat there, like even Rudy, like I'm not doing any ciphers. Fenn said no ciphers.
Yeah. It's actually called an ambiguity, to give ambiguous statements in favor of, against, and change his mind. But what I think about that is when he pens something, he pens his book, he writes out his paragraphs, and he does all this Photoshop to his books, his picture clues and stuff like that. I think he's talking a lot louder that way than when he's just forgetting what to say in the run of an interview. I don't think he's quite as prepared for things
So
like
you're
that,
saying then that you're taking everything that is published as like, I guess, fact, and then what you're not putting as much coin into what he's saying in interviews. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yes, because when you publish your copywriting work and you're creating a fixed plain language, you're creating a fixed place in an illustrative field. So you're taking a thing that you're for sure, you're intentional. It's an intended release. Whereas when you're discounting something publicly, you're just filling in space. You're not really thinking about it when you're
I would
talking,
argue a little bit on that, though, only because I'm so convinced that I think Fenn is CIA. I think let's pretend if he was, then we're talking training here that allows him, even at 80 or through 80 through 90, allows him to just be able to bob and weave and dodge through interviews in a way that most normal people can't. And so if anybody was trained to be able to do this via interviews as well as published text, it would, I think, be Forrest Fenn. So I'm not ready to discount his verbal statements quite yet, although Jack himself says Fenn himself made a couple slip-ups. So I don't know.
Well, in my solve, the existence of the cipher can be tested. Another person can take the same set and do the same work and get the same answer. It's not, you're not, whether you can argue whether you see it or not.
Right.
I mean, people cannot see it and totally block it out, but it's a fixed system. It's an algorithm. It's mathematical. It is mathematical in a sense where that's what it is. It's not telling you to use math and all this stuff. It's just in a graphic point. It's called fixed placement. And it's not really negotiable as far as whether a word says gasoline and Mensa and garden, and it says Dean twice, as in Dizzy Dean, two different spellings. It says a word near the bottom that looks like willow, right in the wood line. But, there are certain things he put in there to make sure that you can see it. In the future, it's locked in. It's a work of cryptography. He wanted to be known as an artist, but see, I'm just trying to sell it now, but.
Right. No, I get it. Like I said, hold on to the rest and we'll get into more depressing questions next Saturday when we do this again. But there's something, there's stuff I want to say to it, but I want to look at whatever you put together first.
I want to answer Fendi.
Yeah,
Fendi
please,
asked
go
me
ahead.
how would a child solve the poem with a cipher? When I was 12, I would have done the same thing. 12 years old. By the time I was 14, I would have been chasing other things, but as a 12-year-old, I would have done this. 13 maybe. But, 14, I was trying to sneak in and play nightclubs on guitar, whatever. But as a 13-year-old, I would have totally, Fendi, I would have totally solved it with a cipher. I would have totally looked in the elements. I had just learned them that year in the 8th grade. So that's where I'd be at. Anyway. Yeah.
Did you go to the spot before the find then? I mean, how come you didn't find anything? You know what? No, hold on. I want to save that for when we talk later. Let's just save
I
that.
found it. Well, I'm not sure that a box was actually left outside, but I thought enough to believe in Fenn enough to think that I could get rich by solving his chase or whatever, but I kind of just became a game to look in the poem and see what could come out of it. Knowing my luck that I thought, I might solve it and never get paid. I did consider that 5 years ago when I saw the cipher.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
if you were right, it sucks that you were right because it was a waste of time if that was the case.
It's always got to be the first question if you're going to apply science to some poem, you're going to have to apply it to whether you should believe this guy first off, and then maybe go outside and take a chance like I did about 400 freaking days inside of 2 years. Because I was checking all the places where the elements, I saw the elements. I went to all these places that were numbers in it in the Rocky Mountains until I finally found an exact. I mean, it's exact. It's so freaking exact. Just it's nuts,
Well,
dude.
I feel you. I definitely like the one thing I like about doing this is to hear someone talk about their solve. Not that I thought you would sound crazy. It's just some people can sound fucking crazy when they talk about this, and you don't.
Sure.
It just sounds like you believe this because you've done the hard work, and that's where the hard work led you. And so,
just a matter of
why
fact,
would you believe differently?
Systemic approach that yielded results.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I get it. Well, like I said, we'll do it on Saturday. I'm interested to know more, but I certainly think it's worth a look. I think people should hop back on Thor and go back and find your old posts and, at least see it in writing before we get into it verbally again.
It's
Carrie says she
crazy that I
imagines
get
your hot
hacked,
dogs are
man.
pitch black by now.
Say again, sorry.
Oh, shit.
Say again, Ashley.
Hey, imagine. Oh,
Wait, what's up?
Ashley, go.
Oh, me? It was in chat. Carrie says that Ben's hot dogs are probably pitch black by now. He likes them extra burnt.
I do, but I'll show you just so you can see. Those look black and crisp. They look perfect to me.
Those are, yeah, it's good.
I know what I'm doing, Carrie. I'm going to get a refill, babe. You want one?
Yeah.
Talk to Five Leaf. He and I argued a lot. Say hi to him.
I don't know how. I think I already kind of figured it out. You argued a lot with Ben. Wow.
Yeah, I used to see him come up. I would dread it. I was like, oh shit, the guy's on my shit again. Oh my God.
What would you
I'm
guys
not gonna
argue?
try
Why
to
were you
get
arguing?
mad,
Where you just have like differing opinions? And catch me up on all the drama that I
Well, he would
clearly
always
missed
like,
when Ben was
he'd
single.
see me. I'd be bumping along with blah, 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 whatever, talking a little on myself. He'd be like, what the hell is going on here? What is this shit? What is this? You're always doing this. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
So was it solved? Did you have anything big majorly that you guys would argue about that you didn't see eye to eye on?
I don't know.
Or just everything? He's easy to argue with.
It was the main things I got, because I'm an asshole in print, the main things I got from people was that it was either not the solve, and then it was like, pretty good there, but you're arrogant, and then they did that, and then it was just whatever, kind of progressed. Like
So
that.
how many times this is all in Thor, right? How many times have you been banned from Thor?
Been everywhere.
Or timed out?
I don't know.
Put on whatever.
7. 7.
7?
I knew it. I had a feeling. I think, what is it for you, Ben? Twice, 2, 3 times? Or is it more than that?
I've been banned from Thor twice.
Yeah. Well, 5 leaf is at 7, so he's got you beat there.
I'm gonna have to change it to 7 leaf now or something. I don't know.
Can I make a
7
public
leaf.
statement to K-Pro? Stop
Yeah.
calling it ban. Just call it a timeout.
Yeah, no, it is a timeout. It's exactly what that is. It's a little timeout. You just need a little timeout. Think about what you've done. Just sit and think about what you've done quietly in a corner.
Listen,
You're
and my
not allowed to
banning,
post.
4.5,
in my
5,
What,
6 months, 4 months.
my longest
Yeah.
ban was this most recent one, and she put me in timeout from like June 15th, I think, to July 9th, and then she let me off a day early for good behavior.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I don't really. Well, I don't. Maybe it seems a little more unfair, a little more biased against me sometimes. It just.
I think it's going to feel that way though when you're coming in with a solve, and
I
whether
don't
your
know
solve
if
is
it's
right or not.
bad blood. I think it's old blood. It's just old folk, old chase fogies, old schooler blood in the chase, man.
I do
guess.
notice a lot. I with the old school blood in the chase, there's so many back and forth comments from one person to another that just looks like they're veiled in some sort of secrecy. You can't really quite figure it out. Like I've noticed, like the old school, you can spot someone old school chase by the cryptic level in which they speak, and the only reason I can recognize it is by seeing it.
It's really interesting that you're talking about that and about like old school searchers just in general. I love this concept that there are people that were in the chase earlier. Like I would be new, and so people would hate on me, right? Like if I say anything, people are like, "You have no idea what you're talking about." That's interesting.
There's
Is there an old school thought?
There's a
versus
couple
new
of
school
ones.
Thought?
Yeah, there's a few of them that are years ahead of me that have just like disappeared into the mountains, or they went off with their hat and beard. They're like out there, the old guard that started in I guess first 3 or 4 years. But yeah, pretty neat. I don't know how this is all going to resolve, but I gotta be honest. The thing that's what's fucking up my head right now is like seeing a thing with my account typing after a password change, a really great one.
Yeah, that's
breaking
weird.
my account. Obviously, seeing the screen or something, just seeing the damn shit that I type or whatever, probably I wouldn't be surprised. Now I'm gonna go looking for certain things. I have to do a little bit of research and actually a perimeter of the neighborhood, the house, which is like just middle of nowhere really. But I'm gonna have to.
They do have
This is
devices out
bad.
there that check if you're being bugged or anything.
Well, that's one way they could do what they're doing. This thing, I don't know of too many ways. How does somebody get around Google? So you know what happened? They did this the other night, and they freaking also keyed up Gwen Stefani official.
What?
Fucking started calling people N words and F words.
Okay, I heard a little bit
And
about this. Yeah.
I'm freaking out. Like, and then Susie has to like go, oh shit, well, it's time anyway. It's been hours and whatever. And screw this, I mean, that was weird. And so my official and Gwen Stefani's were for some reason used to do weird shit. And that's military Google. I mean, I don't know of any other way besides an actual, let's say, router nearby Wi-Fi hack of some sort.
You changed your
You
passwords
could
on
actually-
everything related to Google, not just YouTube.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
Oh
Fire
shit!
with this enough. That's gonna be annoying for camera. Ashley's on
that's
it.
yeah, the OGs, man, the original gangsters of Chase.
There's something else.
Yeah.
They are something else.
They have their chin to the sky and the 1,000-yard stare, raising a metal coffee cup to the mountains, man, eternally, you know.
It's like
Just that great. Yeah, they're hitting all the electronic devices now. What are they going to do? They're going to simulate a solar flare. Then you're gonna type some five-leaf guy's name and say shit, but say I'm clinically insane and fun or something. It's pretty funny shit. I mean,
You guys, I forgot that my French fries were in the oven, and I have the most sensitive smoke alarm ever. Every time I make bacon, that shit goes off through the whole house. What else? I made pancakes this morning. Smoke alarm went off because the oil heating in the pan set the alarm off. Any single thing I do, smoke alarm. Very sensitive smoke alarm. So it's just a weekly thing. I have to open the door and fan the smoke alarm. Someone could help me out with that. That'd be fantastic.
different type. That might be an ion counter. What you might want is something more like a carbon counter, you know.
Oh, so would that make it not as sensitive? I mean, I don't want to die. Like, I honestly want a smoke alarm to tell me if I'm going to die, but I mean, I might die eating this much bacon. It does prevent me from making bacon as often, so maybe that's a good thing. But like, bacon's not going to kill me. I'm just making bacon. I'm making French fries. Why? The house is not on fire. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Not really a big problem, but
I know.
that's my life. Hey, Jay, get that popcorn bag
Hanging
right
it.
there. It's gonna go in the pool. Okay, so let's see. Anybody that wants to jump on? Hey, Davio. I put the link to Zoom in the chat. We're not having French fries. We're having, yes, French fries. Okay. Do bacon in the oven. All right. So I've tried bacon in the oven. Rudy, why did your smoke alarm go off? Tell me. That might be because I can't cook. Oh, you're so sweet. I'm actually a really good cook. Bacon in the oven. I don't know. I don't think it's as good, but I have done it before. I have done that recently because I just can't stand the smoke alarm. But I can't make pancakes in the oven. I gotta make those on the stovetop. So whatever, my smoke alarm can chill. What are you into other than the Forrest Fenn hunt? I think that's kind of something that I'm curious about. Everybody in this chase is like, we all have the chase in common, but like, what's another hobby that you have? What is something else that you do?
I want to build an electric 4x4 from
Oh,
scratch.
four-wheel? You built
My
one?
next thing. Well, I want to. I'm looking at some motors and 4-wheel independent. I'm thinking of ideas like 4 foot tall, maybe 5 foot tall, like carriage wheels that are kind of like real skinny enduro motorcycle looking tires or something, to where I'd probably have to tack rubber slabs around, like off of old tires, around maybe actual 5 foot carriage things from the 1800s or whatever, but maybe a rudimentary shock system, double leaf suspension, to where you can have a good pulse for up and down on a dirt road.
Because you'd want to be off-roading in
And-
something like this, right?
Well, we just saw the creek go up to 3 feet from dry most of the year within 40 minutes today. So pretty ridiculous.
I had when I lived in Texas, we had 4-wheelers, and then I had a Polaris side by side that was a 6-seater. My girls loved that thing. They were devastated when I sold it.
6 seat, 6 wheel deals are really neat.
Yeah, the girls would
6-seater,
off-road.
the inline 4x. Yeah.
Yeah, my girls, I'd be like out on a date, and I get a phone call from like the sheriff's department. They're like, we're with your daughters. Are they 16? Do they have a license? They're not wearing a helmet. I'm like, you guys, it's Texas. Which one of my asshole neighbors called on me? Which one? I'm sorry. I'm the single woman in the neighborhood and you all hate me, but stop calling the police on my children. They're literally driving your children home. Silly, right? How are you, Davia?
We're good. Hanging in there.
What's
Checking
new?
out making sure we're not on fire.
Ugh, I just forgot
what?
the French fries. Dang it.
Uh-oh. Is this working, by the way? Is the bandwidth enough?
I see you and
We
hear
are
you.
here.
I hear you. Hey, by the way, when I
Cheers.
come back down,
Great.
I saw in chat someone brought up Oak Island. I want to get into that.
Oh, Ben loves Oak Island. I should post. I wish there was a way to like post pictures in the chat of when Ben and I first started dating. Here's kind of what happened. Like Ben like kind of reeled me in and I was like, oh, he's a cool dude. And then he slowly integrated his television shows into my life. And like to the point where now he'll complain, you never pick the movie. And then I'll pick a movie and he'll be like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. That's stupid. Let's watch Oak Island. I'm like, okay, why do I even suggest anything? So Oak Island was huge when we first started dating. And I remember being bored to tears. Like I just kept telling Ben, why do you watch this? They don't find anything. They've never found anything. It's so boring.
Well, you know the key, to quote myself from like a month ago, the key to a reality show is to create problems and always dig a hole. Always dig a hole. Keep that mofo going, man. Keep that
But I
hole
will.
going.
Let me jump in because I'm not ready yet to fully jump in. There's two things to that, Ashley and Jay and Five Leaf Blaze here. Two things. They did find plenty of things on Oak Island,
Sure.
and
Well,
it's
They
not.
found a nice Spanish ring there. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
but
not-
it's
but
because
it
it's
was-
getting
What was the-
exciting. You didn't let me finish. It's getting exciting now. Now they're finding stuff, and now I'm way into it.
Well, have you seen the show that precedes Oak Island, which really kind of shows you what potentially could be there? It's the guy that researched all the Shakespeare. You guys know what that was called? The guy who did that really amazing documentary.
Do you
No,
know
no,
Ben?
hour-
I've never.
But absolutely, one of the biggest
The
ideas
Rosicrucian?
about the Oak Island spot is that they have the original Shakespeare manuscripts.
Yes, that was what's supposed to be down there. But what spawns that was the guy's research in what was hidden in the text in plain sight that got people to Oak Island. And I can't remember the name of that frickin' documentary. It was really, really good. And it shows all the same kind
And
of
it's
shit
about
Fenn's
Oak
probably
Island?
doing.
It's about
And
like,
it-
the
and it
treasure
got-
of Oak Island. Cool.
And it got everybody to Oak Island. And it's part of how they figured out what could be buried down there. It motivates them. It's the big motivator is that frickin' somebody on the chase is going to have to know the name of it. It was, it was something
real
like the
quick,
Rosicrucians.
I'm making plates for my sons real quick, and then I'll be in here. Hold on. But I
You
want to
guys
watch
hot
didn't
dogs
see
off.
that? You guys never saw that documentary about the Shakespeare, like the Shakespeare Code? It was some weird show like that.
I did see that, and that actually wasn't what got me into Oak Island.
Yeah,
I
what's
read.
the name of it?
I can't remember the name of it. I will get it. I'll
That
find
was
it.
really good, wasn't it?
It was. It was delightful.
It was
Um,
genius because it actually went somewhere. Then we ended up on an island, right? And then you could see how he was hiding the various codes, even at the burial site, right? Even at the grave. It was really clever, really well hidden, highly
Did you
motivated
read?
to hide.
Did you
stuff.
ever? Did you ever, Davio, read Reader's Digest back in the day?
Did I ever read Reader's? I skimmed it.
My
It was
grandma
neat.
always
So
had
they
it.
had an article about Oak Island. I think it was from the 60s. And like
Yeah, that
in
sounds
this article-
familiar. That's what
Yeah.
that's what got the boys out there, the brothers, right? That's what got those guys out there.
I think that's what got Rick and Marty out there. And I read the same
Absolutely.
article in detention in high school.
Wow, perfect.
Like I couldn't think of anything that would get me into something better than reading about an old island with a treasure on it while I'm in detention.
Outstanding, man. That's. Did you
Oh,
ever
wait,
hear
was this
of?
your story of how you found the Oak Island treasure? Is that what you just told?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
at least
I
how I
remember it.
found it, how I heard
on
about
the
it.
show. And yeah. I mean,
I'd like
everybody's.
Is it a
I take Ben's
Is
stories
it
and I like
a-
file them in my brain. in like little folders of like things that he tells me as we date. Like, oh yes, Oak Island file. Whoop.
Okay, so I'm going over here. You might want to walk away. What's some feedback? Oak Island absolutely has something on it. Oak Island is not stringing any of you along. The show itself might be stringing us along in a way in which it's produced, but Rick and Marty Lagina don't make shit from this show. I know how much people make from reality shows. It's not much. The amount of money they're spending to find this treasure. Whew.
Yes. So this is their little dream, their lifelong dream.
This is a lifelong dream. This is one brother who made a killing in the fracking industry, and another brother who is an idealist and has been reading about this treasure since before he could remember. That's what's going on. And the brothers
pure romance. This is romance at its best.
Oh, right? It really is. And you know what?
I mean, this is man romantic, man against all odds treasure, the whole thing. This is exactly the story we expected out of the Thrill the Chase, and it's being played out in the dirt on an island, which is outstanding. I think it's killer.
Right? Yeah. I love it. And but I understand when people are like going, hey man, this show is just stringing us along. They don't find anything. Like, I've heard that about Oak Island. I get it. Again, Rick and Marty Lagina can't control what the producers do, but I know Rick and Marty Lagina's motivations and their budget. And
what's the British guy's name? The Bobby Dazzler? I mean, that cat is going to... I mean, he's going to have his own fucking metal detector, that guy. You know what I mean? Now they got archaeologists in the dirt. I mean, look at you two. A couple of archaeologists right here. As a matter of fact, you two freaking degree motherfuckers right here, I got a couple of questions.
Ask away.
In other
words,
words,
me ask one real quick. Is Oak Island a barrier island?
Is Oak Island a barrier
island?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Why?
So it turns up. Hurricanes change the sand by like several feet surface and till it under and move things around, and like Padre Island, I'd done a lot of looking around.
I mean, that island itself,
camping alone,
doesn't look like what it used to. It's not. It wasn't in the shape of an elephant when this was hidden. There is a man-made pond that combined two islands, swamp, whatever we want to call it. But
the swamp is man-made for sure.
Yeah, 100% man-made. And guys, if some of you have quit on this show, go back to it over the last couple of years, over the last couple seasons. You can skim, watch the season finales, just do that. They are finding shit there. They found a roadway.
Yes.
They found a friggin' roadway.
Yeah, the roadway.
False swamp.
Can I see your face? Turn your face on, because it's very cute seeing your face get so excited about Oak Island treasure.
Well, wait a minute. So since you're an archaeologist and you saw my video about that place in the Santa Cruz Mountains, doesn't that give you the idea of like Chaco Canyon and the pyramids down in South America? The same kind of idea of that kind of sophistication?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the same sophistication of Chaco Canyon. Well, what I would say it is that Chaco Canyon allows us the idea that cultures from far south, Mesoamerica, to South America, those cultures were interacting in North America, in what we consider the contiguous United States, and they were interacting all the fucking time.
Exactly.
What is the proof of that? Chaco Canyon was the Wall Street of the Southwest at its time. Yeah. And so the idea that we have influence from Mesoamerica in things like your spot in Central California, of course, absolutely. Chaco Canyon allows for it. Your spot in particular is not a Chaco Canyon. But what it is proof of influence.
Of noting the sky. I didn't mean in its man-made buildness, just the sky awareness. I mean, it's on the highest point of the mountain range, looking out over the ocean. So the stars and what you're going to be aware of. I just see that place as like a school of teaching, the history of the sky. And because of the Almaden mine that's right there, I thought it'd be a great way to verify its link with South America. right? Because the cinnabar, which is liquid mercury when you heat it up, was found all over South America. So
I mean,
thought
we
it
got
would
liquid
be
mercury in Asia at
That-
burial sites.
right. So in the cinnabar
Guess
queen,
what
which
tool
has been recently
South
found,
America?
right? So I
Guess
thought
what tool
I thought
they
you
never
guys would be
find?
all over that. I thought you guys could point me at somebody that would want to I don't know take that research forward. Actually, we need to get Google involved because they're rich. And they're right down the street from the freaking mountain. As a matter of fact, their employees climb all over the bloody thing.
I wanna
Five
see
Leaf,
it.
what were you
Looks
trying to
really
say?
cool.
Oh, there's one tool of Mesoamerica, pre-Columbian, that's surprisingly missing. What is it?
The Atlatl?
I'll be right back.
I don't know, but I think their study of the sky and the solar system and time is fascinating, and that's what's going on at this location that the video of these two guys saw right here, of this place in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And since it's in the Santa Cruz Mountains, I was hoping to get, I don't know, some kind of wisdom from archaeologists here to then, so I can get it in front of the, it's called the Google team in that Silicon Valley, and see if they want to throw money at this to protect it and do some studying with it, since they, they're about mapping, for crying out loud. They could be involved with mapping this thing, and I thought it would be, I don't know, money well spent, since they're right there. You know what I mean? Their employees are climbing all over it every weekend. So, hey, Sammy, right on, Sammy.
Taco, that's
So these guys are archaeologists. Did you know that, Sam? These guys are, that's what they do. They're actually in the dirt digging around. So I showed them that video that I have of Castle Rock. So I'm trying to get these guys to get involved so we can do something with that. Which is how, by the way, I got involved with the Forrest Fenn thing. Is from those videos you guys saw. That's how I got involved with it. Because I talked to Forrest about archaeology. Like, if you find something, what do you do, right? So, what I have, by the way, actually, I have alerted every archaeologist who knows about the place, but they have no inkling to do anything. Why is that?
What do you want to do, Davio? And I apologize. Ben had to step away because one of my sons slammed his fingers in the back door, and he won't
Just
have
have
it for me.
to have it kid stuff for sure. To acknowledge that it is exactly that. This is a solstice event that's made, and this is exact. All these parts are actually real. Pay attention. Preserve them. I don't say stop rock climbers, but stop the spray painters.
Yeah.
The second thing that I want to see happen is Google getting involved. I mean, they do Google Talks, right? So you go in there and you pitch your story at Google, and I wanted them just to throw money, because they got buckets of it, at this location, and they could map it. They mapped El Capitan, they mapped all that kind of stuff. This is in their backyard. I thought they would want to be like on the map of being, the one to put their name all over a discovery to Mesoamerica next to the Silicon Valley.
And how did you discover it? Like, what's your story with the place?
Well, that's the rock that I was climbing on for my entire life as a kid, right? There's that. And so from there, my fiance let go of the rope and dropped me 5 stories, and I broke some 30 pounds and was choppered out. So,
Holy shit.
that was a bad fucking day. So after I got healed up, I would always go there to, what do you call heal, right? So one day I'm there on June 21st, and I'm inside the cave smoking a bowl with somebody, and I'm watching the light fall over the hole in there, and I'm going, holy shit, man. That's an image of a serpent, man. That's totally Mesoamerican kind of shit. I said, if that light is actually touching a rock down there, then this is no fucking mistake. And you start looking at the ceiling, and you can see how it's got the same, what do you call it? Napping. The same napping that you do on arrowheads is on the ceiling. And I'm like, wow, this is intentional. And then you notice the 2 rocks in the middle. I go, okay, so if there's one thing, then there's got to be more. So then I came there on the solstice for Christmas, right? The winter solstice. And sure as shit, the light comes in 90 degrees from the other side, right down over the top of the Pacific Ocean and into this little hole lighting up the other rock inside. I lost my fucking brain. I went, so I alerted the California archaeologists, the a guy, rangers there. I talked to everybody, but it all kind of falls flat. Even separate virants who are redwood, they're the redwood people. They're all over that freaking area. They've thrown money at creating a parking lot, and preserving it, and all that shit. But I can't get anybody to like acknowledge that it could be this because it turns out all the Native Americans in that particular area have always been made stupid or dumb or irrelevant because the Spaniards were there first and slaughtered them.
Okay, so I don't know if you know, but I'm Native American, and my people. I'm from Southern California originally. I'm one of the few Californians that my people are from here, and the
So
Spaniards
Ohlone,
colonized.
what tribe?
I'm a
Miwok,
member of the
Ohlone.
Lucenio Band of Mission Indians.
Oh, fantastic!
I'm Lucenio. And there are several Lucenio tribes, as you know. I won't say my particular tribe, but I'm pretty sure, Davio, you could kind of figure out in Southern California which tribe that is.
Dig it.
We're
Nice.
one of the bigger ones. But
Babe, you opened up that Pandora's box.
yeah, I know. But we were colonized by the Spaniards as well. So it's very interesting that you bring that up. So I'm familiar
The
with that.
Spaniards, the conquistadores were fucking prick motherfuckers. Then they brought in their padres and they set on fire all of that wisdom that was accumulated all the way from freaking Alaska down to South America. All that's gone. Poof.
What I can
These
tell you
idiots
about
set
my
on fire.
people, you might find this interesting. I could talk about this shit all day. What I find
you go,
interesting is that the Spaniards came in, colonized. They took all of the children out of the homes because our language is an oral language, right? It wasn't written. It was just like we just, spoke it. So they removed the children
Yes.
from their homes, from the elders, thereby cutting off the language, making it a dead language. Took the kids out,
Ugh.
taught them how to, cook and clean and use guns and just isolated the elders so they had nobody to talk to, and taught the kids Spanish. So the language, there's some heavy Spanish influence in our language, but we as a tribe brought in a linguist, I don't know, maybe 16, 17 years ago, who met with the oldest members of the tribe, the elders, and he just sat with them and he just talked to them and they taught him the entire language. He wrote a book on it. He now teaches classes. They now have a school where they teach little kids. I took my kids to Mommy and Me little Lucenio classes where they would learn to speak the language and they can count and they know their colors and everything. That's really cool. But it's amazing how, I just loved when my kids were little and they would do like Christmas programs, at their like Native American school. And I would sit back and crack up because it's like Christmas, but it's all about like a gun and like, here came the Spaniards. Fuck those guys. And like the kids are singing about like singing the songs. And I'm sitting there going, this is the strangest Christmas program I've ever been to. Like there's no Santa or jingle bells. It's like, oh, our people were colonized. Like they killed us.
Right.
They raped our women. It's just
odd. It's what that represents is they brought in this Cristo, this thing, which is horrible. And then, they starved everybody. I mean, it's horrific. So I'm adopted into the a family that was originally Los Californianos. The great grandfather came over with freaking Father Juniper Sierra. So all the way back to there. So it's the family that I'm adopted into. So I heard the Spanish side, right? And then I find this thing in the mountains. And so I get hold of Anne Marie. Anne Marie is the tribal elder to the Ohlone people who occupied the Santa Cruz Mountains before the slaughter of before the Spaniards. Now it's interesting. The name that's up and down the coast is all sounding like spin-offs of Olmec, which is really interesting. That would be the oldest possible name you could take back between 6,000 and 12,000 years ago, right? So Ohlone, Olmec, what's the four other tribes in the Bay Area are all kind of that phonetic kind of sound. But anyway, Anne Marie did not know this thing existed. It wasn't handed down in her lineage, but she understands, solstices and all this stuff. I mean, this would be a place where you would learn about the stars. You would celebrate all these things. So I would think it'd be a location that would be important to Native Americans, and it should be a place that they should come and go and celebrate and know it exists.
It is
I
important.
totally agree.
But you found it, Davio.
Well,
Archaeologists.
I wonder.
Hold on. This is what's going on. You didn't. You found it. Archaeologists didn't. It's not their find. They don't want to deal with giving you credit. They say fuck the site because a fellow archaeologist didn't get it. That's honestly what's probably going on.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Ben. You just found it, and you're bringing me along. Come on, let's go.
Damn straight I am.
Come on. Start writing those
Like I
papers. Get it out there. Come
Like
on.
I said, my brother is up in San Francisco. I'm going to have an excuse to go up and see him in the next few months. I'm going to go check the site out myself. And then once I do, then I can message my former archaeology friends and get some answers. Like I told you in the email, there was one woman on our dig at the Mogollon pit houses, which was in Mimbres, New Mexico, and her whole entire thesis was about astroarchaeology. And so while we're digging up the pit houses, she was going to where the windows would be, and then kind of coordinating that with summer solstice, because that's when we were digging, was mid-June. So that's her whole area of expertise. Is at every window in every single pit house that we found. Maybe it's hyperbole. I don't know if I'm right on this, but I'm pretty sure I am.
It's amazing, right?
Angling towards the sun on the equinox. Every window in the 12 pit houses that we dug all faced the summer equinox perfectly. The houses weren't perfectly lined up, but they all lined up perfectly with the equinox. Which is part of an ongoing theory that she had, that every culture is this way because they all shared that information back then, and we just don't know it.
That's right. That's right. That is exactly right. And I thought, wow, this is right here in this state called Castle Rock. You would, I don't know. I just thought it would be a great thing to bring to light. So since you got the title of archaeologist, Mr. Archaeologist, come on, let's throw some, I don't know, ink around here and see if we can't get at least the Google people. They do Google Talks. You heard of Google Talks?
Oh yeah, I've watched it.
Have you seen any of these?
Yeah.
You've been on it. How do you get a hold of the producer so we can get on there and show them video and say, look, you guys need to get your lasers out there and map all this because you're going to be blown away what you find. Because there's
something like a Google Talk. We have to have the conclusion. We have to figure out what this all means first. But that doesn't mean we can't investigate this. So we're going to.
My wheels are definitely spinning, Ben. I don't know about yours, but like we could probably definitely try to put something together.
No, we have hookups. I don't like to use my hookups unless I have all the information.
Think about it. At the very least, it would be a great little freaking Netflix documentary freaking thing. Guy falls off a rock, finds fucking petroglyphs, which show that it's part of Mesoamerica. Oh, come on. That sounds like that,
great story.
Guy. Josh Gates would love this shit, right?
Freaking great story.
So at least we could make that go. And it's real. So, I mean, that's kind of fun.
Look at these hot dogs.
They're a little burnt.
My goodness.
I left them on.
Well, it's the charcoal flavor that makes them barbecue. You guys going off to have dinner now?
No, I already
I
was
ate.
eating while we were doing this.
I
It's
ate
Sunday
on-
chill.
on here. We're just
Sunday
hanging out. I'm about
chill.
to go get in the pool, I think.
I'm just going to chill.
I'm not paying attention to anything in the chat, but I imagine I'm getting beat up all the time.
Let me look
I'm sure it's
for
a
you.
lot of, we've heard this, Davia. We've heard this.
Yep. Well, here it again. I'm trying to get people to do something. Sometimes it takes
Wipe
more
your
than one.
face.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm talking to my son. Ketchup. Just ketchup and strawberries on your face.
That's
You're
okay.
good?
It's okay. It's all good now. It's been a long day at the coffee shop. I'm a little spun. It's okay.
Don't get in your shorts. Put swim trunks on, man.
Okay, I'll be right back. I stand up, brought my pants, and I'm in my freaking swim shorts. That'd be hilarious. Now that's some comedy.
Perfect.
What's
Cooley, you are correct. I
Huli,
don't
she is the woman behind the scenes all the time.
She's
It's kind of
everywhere.
amazing.
Huli's awesome.
Well,
You guys
what's
are
the
all
number one
awesome.
thing that people are pissed at me about? Anything in particular? Because we can always play with that.
Yeah,
No,
tell
people
us
are
what's
saying
up with chat.
I love listening to Davio when he's not talking about his solve.
There you go. That's right. How could it actually be that, Davia? Stop with the thinking and the numbers. Oy vey, come on. I know.
I mean, it carries into the meta theme. If your solve, whoever you are, if your solve doesn't coincide with someone else's solve, that
Yeah.
person
Towel.
is going to
Oh,
say,
go
"Hey,
get another one.
that's
Get a
incorrect."
Band-Aid. You know where they are.
It's an interest. Do you see it as a thing of how people perceive information? I mean, it's kind of an interesting. It's very interesting, right? I mean, if it doesn't resonate in any kind of way, one can't even look at it as a maybe. It's interesting. If one has an idea romantically, this is how it's put together. They can't look at it analytically or mathematically, right?
This is why I'm saying I like hanging out with Ben and talking to Ben and disagreeing with Ben, honestly, because he's able to see it. He'll look at all sides before, saying, no, you're wrong. Like he's really open to it. And you're right. I think that some people aren't. They just see, they have tunnel vision. They see it one way and that's it.
Right. It's kind of like, how do you express looking at art? Who's wrong? The picture has 1,000 words. I want to hear more words. What are the words that equal? I mean, for instance, we all have an idea that we're missing something. There are confirmations, right? These are the basics of we can all agree on, which is really hard to find. And how we go about coming to those conclusions is radically different to everyone. Some people that are looking for actual temperature of water. Some people think that warm water is a metaphor. So
I would love if where warm water's halt has nothing to do with water.
That would be cool.
I fully do not think it has anything to do with water at all. I think it is if when warm water halts, cool water begins.
But you're still using
And
the word
did you
water.
know that Cool Water, it's a song from the Sons of the Pioneers, and did you know that in
Did you know?
oh my God, 39, it was the number 20 song on the freaking hit parade.
Maybe this is just a 90s reference or early 2000s reference, because did you know, Davio? Wait, everybody wait for it. I'm about to drop some knowledge about Cool Water right now. Cool Water was a perfume I wore in high school by Davidoff. Just saying. Maybe that's what it's about. I know. It's just like my lame attempt to be funny.
Say that
Guys,
again.
come
I tried. My name came up and I was treating. Say it again.
I am the basic blonde bitch of this channel, and I'm telling you, Cool Water by Davidoff was a perfume I wore in high school. I
It's a
switched between
perfume. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
begin it where perfume stops, or no, begin it where perfume begins. Right? Cool waters.
Debbie after
No,
my shower.
she's using it as a metaphor. What year?
Begin it
What
where
year was
smell
that?
stops.
Was that 1995 by any chance? No.
99, 2000, whenever we were in high school.
Speaking of 95, I'm still convinced Fenn actually hit the chest in 1995.
Oh, that's interesting. Whatever information that you found recently about that was interesting to me. What was that again?
Your drink's over here.
I'll come get it.
It was something to the effect of just looking at Fenn quotes, and Fenn absolutely was adamant that he wrote the poem after hiding the chest, after the day he hid the chest, when he got home. So we're either left with one of two conclusions. Either he's been writing the poem for 15 years in his head, leading up to 2010 or 9, and then hides it in 2009 or 10, and then finalizes whatever final draft of the poem he has for the book. And it's the same poem he's been working on in his head for 15 years prior to hiding the chest. But he confuses this by stating, I did not write the poem until I hid the chest. And then we have a statement that says it took him 15 years to write the poem. Okay, well, by proxy, that means he hid the chest in 1994 or 1995 and published the poem finalized in the year 2009 or 2010 with The Thrill of the Chase, which would mean he said he hid the chest for a while to make sure that nobody would stumble upon it. So was the chest sitting out in the wilderness of Wyoming since 1995?
Nah, probably like 09 is my guess. 2
I
years
think
before the
09 too,
book.
but
a couple of
how
years
did he
before
write?
it
How
hits
did
the
he write the
press.
poem for 15 years in a matter of months?
Well, I mean, is it actually 15 years, or is he really trying to put forth that number 15? Because
That's a good
page
question. Is he just
15,
pushing that number?
because that number shows up a few times. It's also a very important page in the book. So I'm thinking that maybe 15 is a number he's kind of using as a hint, or I don't. You
So you're
bet
getting
it
back
was
to my
rattling around
lost salt.
for the last 15 years. You know it was. The idea, concept, the theory? I bet so. Hey, Lavender Blonde, Redneck Express. Woo! So
What's
you
up,
know what
kid?
I mean? I think it was rattling around in his head. Actually getting pen to paper and making it actually happen,
Yeah.
was probably a lengthy process. I got a feeling he's writing too far to walk at the same time because he's got so many stories. I don't know. Just seems like that's a more refined book with actual chapter
So
numbers.
K
Hey.
Pro
So,
jumps in to tell us and remind us that the FBI raid
oh,
inventoried the chest in 2009. So during their raid, they
there
saw
you
the
go.
chest. What date was the raid? What month?
So I would imagine that would have been a massive motivator after that raid to put that thing out into the world. So I got a feeling
Well, that's why. This is why.
before winter in 2009, it went out to where it was going to be. I got a feeling.
Well, let's go back to my story about interacting with Fenn. This was July of 2009, and I again state I think I'm 95% accurate in saying that he said the chest was already hidden. Hold
There
on.
it
As
is.
I'm typing this, June 2009, Kpro thinks she did the FOIA. The raid
Yep.
was in June of 2009. I met the dude early
Yep.
July of 2009, and he said he put the chest out there. Now, get back to what
Oh.
you were saying of hiding the chest in 2009. And
Yeah.
what was your point, Davio, about the timing of this?
And it just makes sense that after he gets raided, he'd want that thing out of his house because, that's a real shitty thing to have happen.
Right. So
you're going to really kind of wrap up any kind of loose ends.
And so some of this conversation I haven't shared in terms of what the archaeology friends of mine said. And when they confronted me about this meeting with Forrest Fenn, it was, hey, man, we saw you were chilling and talking to that. You know who that is, right? I'm like, I have no idea. He never told me his name. But that's Forrest Fenn. And so a little bit deeper of the Forrest Fenn talk was, that's a grave robber. He was literally just raided. Don't trust this man. He just said he's going to bury a treasure. I bet that treasure is something he's hiding from the raid, is how it was put to me by one of it was a graduate student. It wasn't an undergrad. So it was someone working on their PhD, and they were adamant, like, even if there is a treasure that he just hid, I guarantee you it has something to do with this raid, because the dude was just raided a few weeks back. Now I remember that part.
Was he tipped off to the raid, Ben? Did he know that was happening so that he could go and then hide it?
I don't know if he was tipped off or he got raided and went, well, okay, because his chest got inventoried according to Kpro. So if he wanted to keep that chest out of an inventory, he would have, and he knew the raid was coming, he would have hid it before the raid. So the fact that the raid came, they saw the chest, means whether or not he was tipped off, he didn't feel the need to hide the chest until after this.
He's not worried about. Yeah, the FBI could see the box because he's talking about the box. The box is no big secret. You know what I mean? The treasure, that's really not the issue. You know what I mean? The artifacts with the Native Americans and stuff like that, that's where it gets real gray.
And here's my thing. Did he have one chest with artifacts and jewels and things that were unaccounted for, and another chest where it was just straight up gold, and so it could be inventoried and written off as a nothing burger? It does get us into the
I think the inventory of the chest in the book is information that he wants us to have. What that actually shows up? Which one? The inventory and the thrill of the chase?
FBI does.
But there's two things here. There's the thrill of the chase, which is what was created architecturally for us to use to figure out this whole freaking deal, right? So that the numbers and the information that are around the inventory of the chest is relevant to that. What actually goes into the box, another story, right? I mean, it's whatever it is. There's one information to help us find it, and there's reality on what's in the box. And I don't think the reality of what's actually in the box turned out to be way less jewels, way less kind of, it's impressive, but nothing like the photographs we saw earlier. Probably because of a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, no, just because it could just not deal well with time. I mean, when Forrest first did this, it one thought, it was one motivation. It was the first act. He had no idea by the third act, his death in that whole area of time, where Jack finds it, that polluted, so corrupt, so shitty, so harassing against his family. I don't think any of those things were thought out or could be when he had, the intention of putting this thing out. These are two different worlds, right? So there's the intention of what happened when it goes into the ground or to said location where it was found by Jack X time later, right? So it's keeping track of these things in time. And the gold fever, and I mean, people really thought it was going to be much bigger deal than it actually, is, right? I mean, I always thought the story was a bigger deal than the actual treasure. You know what I mean?
I will say,
how one found it.
I think that raid affected him. I saw that in the chat, and I think that's a good word.
Oh, count on it.
Absolutely. And we always wonder on the motivation.
It made him want to
look at the idea.
Oh, dude, putting this chest out into the world and doing this is a big fuck you to everybody. I mean, what lovely fuck off, motherfucker. I'm going to do with this what I want. Fuck you. I'm going to take it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
and that feels like the motivation.
Oh my God, it's so elegant.
Like, I don't care that Ralph Lauren told the guy, you can't take it with you. I don't believe that's what magically gave Fenn some epiphany. It does seem interesting that there's an FBI raid in June. I talked to the dude in July and says it's hid, but let's just pretend he hides it at some point after that raid. He said he's been working on it for a while. That book didn't just write itself in 6 months. Like, it felt like he was waiting for the right time. And it seemed like this moment where the FBI raids him, he goes, all right, now we found our right time. Fuck the FBI. Fuck the government. Find my chest. Guess what? It's probably going to be somewhere you got to piss off the government to get.
Exactly. Exactly. And at the same time, he promotes morals and ethics that he has, a love for, outside adventure, creativity, and art. I mean, the guy really brought Sloane into this genre of humans that normally would have not been,
I do have one thing to say regarding art. I'm convinced more than ever that Forrest Fenn actually doesn't love or give a fuck about art itself. Does he want to set up an artistic piece of theatrical, humanity? Sure. But his love of art, I don't think actually exists. One of my first solve in Yellowstone dealt with art, and it dealt with Thomas Moran versus Tyler Grafton Brown, who really painted the proper portrait of the Yellowstone National Grand Canyon, the big waterfall that's there. You have Artist Point and Inspiration Point. And I might even be screwing this up. Artist Point, I think, was Thomas Moran, and Inspiration Point is actually where Grafton Brown did it. And so my first solve was, well, shit, here's a Brown, and it's a lesser known guy who did the same portrait. And the home of Brown would be the spot where he decided to make this portrait. And therefore, home of Brown is Inspiration Point. And then I go, okay, well, what's below that or south of that? Oh, it's the Uncle Tom Trail. And just lo and behold, it had 328 steps to it, matching Fenn's 328 missions. So I was like, that's the solve. But then when I got deeper into Fenn and his relationship with art, I found the dude didn't give a shit about art. He doesn't care. He knows it can make
when he brings down to what, $17 a square inch, he's not really saying much about the art, is
No, he's not. Right.
No. So I don't disagree with you. It's just that, when you're an art dealer, so as a pot grower, you're in love with your marijuana. This is the best shit. This is my baby. Don't talk bad about my baby. Right. You can't sell it when you're that vested, when it's that personal to you. If I've got a painting that I've spent, I don't know, all day on, let's say a good 10 hours into it, I'm going to want X amount of money because, da-da-da. So if someone goes, tries to talk me down, it's like, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, this is what it is. You got to dig it or not. It's a little bit of that, right? So I could see
Agreed.
Fenn being the intro to the artists, kissing their ass, being the nice guy, getting these Hollywood stars to hang out in his house who have the money to buy the art he has inside.
It's amazing how he makes all these friends real quick. It just is. It's always humored me, to say the least.
Well, he's got a great. He starts out with a great story. He survived freaking Vietnam as a pilot. By the way, have you guys ever seen the movie Bat 21?
At 21. No.
BAT 21. You guys, it's Forrest Fenn's story with freaking Gene Hackman. I think it's Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman's is the pilot who is a golfer who has to jump out of the plane. It crashes, and
There's
then he uses
There's a golf
terms.
solve to this poem.
Dogleg. So he uses golf terms to get his ass out of the jungle. So the VC, or Charlie as they are known,
Can't find it.
doesn't know where he's
What's
at,
it
and
called
he's
again?
giving coordinates about the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
The Ho Chi Minh. Okay, so what's it called again?
BAT, B-A-T, asterisk 21. B-A-T, asterisk 21. No
Honey,
shit, you have to watch
Write
that movie.
that down. Write that down. We're gonna watch that tonight.
And
I like
so,
it.
what's the little airplane that's running and doing reconnaissance on making sure that the pilot is okay? That's called Bird Dog. That's exactly the airplane he's standing next to, holding the M16. The little tiny airplane.
I thought you were just gonna give me some random CIA airplane that they were making in Area 51, like the SR-71 Blackbird. That's what Fenn was really flying.
Now, there's that little Cessna motherfucker, and it shows up 3 times in this book, which is interesting. Right? So you got the Vietnam version, and then he's got the one that he's sitting on with Tea with Olga. It's interesting how often this little tiny plane shows up. Single prop.
And remember, someone in this channel,
Danny Glover. You know who's got this?
Glover.
Sam is the man. Sam's got that movie.
Let's not forget, someone in this chat room at some point in this channel mentioned to us that that Tea with Olga flight that Fenn literally couldn't do. It would have been illegal. He would have been told to land. It wouldn't have worked out as easily as he said in his book. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it also would have looked like the Big Lebowski when, he had the ashes blow all over himself. I mean, that's what it's like if you're trying to put ashes out the...
Wait. Did he actually have the ashes blow on himself? I don't remember that. No, he
absolutely,
didn't really
man.
take from the Big Lebowski, did he?
Oh, yeah. Remember he's leaning over the edge at the cliff and then the wind blows and he's floating out?
I've been to that cliff. I went to that cliff specifically for the movie, just to say I've been there. Like, are you telling me? Hold on. No jokes. Forrest Fenn in Tea with Olga mentioned that the fucking ashes flew on them?
No, I'm saying that's what would really happen, wouldn't it?
Oh, right. Yes. I see what you're saying. You're 100% right. Like, you wouldn't have been able to just magically drop the ashes in this mountain area.
Right.
That shit would have
You're
blown
not going to
back in your
flicker
face.
down onto the hilltop. Yeah,
Right.
it's total Mary Poppins. You know what I mean? It's going to fill the entire cabin with freaking white powder, man. It's going to be horrific, right? No, it would be horrible. So no, it's a fantasy story, and what I found interesting was the page numbers and the words he was using. T and then Olga. Those 2 words I found to be very interesting. As far as
I do. I find that interesting with the connections too. Hey, K Pro. She said, "Hillbilly, I believe Jack forgot if he took boots on the ground pictures before. I believe Goofy was given all the money from Dale's site for years without even knowing his name." So everything she's saying is accurate as far as I understand it. Jack, remember, he told me in one of these emails, not only did we don't know if he took pictures while he was just boots on the ground and not finding the chest, but at the very least, when he did find the chest, he neglected to take any other pictures aside from the ones released, and including no selfie with the chest at all, which I think any human being on the planet just goes, huh? If they spent more than a day on this hunt, I think, I don't know, 99.99% take a selfie with the chest. Even if they don't share it, they took one.
Yeah. Of course you do.
It's
how do you
nonsense that you're telling me the person who figured out the Forrest Fenn chase had to understand the man Forrest Fenn better than anybody,
You know,
requiring a deep dive search using English skills that you ascertained from your college degree. After all of that, a year and a half, 2 years worth of doing that and diving into the man's head, obsessed, saying that his words were playing in your head as you were searching, you don't take a fucking smiley face selfie with the chest. I don't buy it, Jack Stoof.
No. Here's another thing I don't buy. Remember how we previously were talking about the first act, how he put this thing out there. If you recall, when he did this, Forrest doesn't know if he was going to live, 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5. He has no idea, right? I always thought there was, he put this out there, and off he goes. He's going to go die because he's done. He's done his thing. That's it. The fact that I have to get permission, that upsets me more than anything. I need permission. I'm sorry, Daddy, for me to go walk out there and pick this off the ground, I don't need anybody's permission, period. I'm actually an adult. I can vote. I can buy beer. I'm a fucking adult.
I can cross
pay
the
bills.
dumb street on my own.
I don't need permission. According to the book, I've been given title by virtue of buying the freaking book. So
Right.
now I'm involved. That's it. We're
Unless-
done. We are grateful and thank fucking God Mr. Fenn lived as long as he did with his wife, happy children. Fuck yeah, absolutely. But I think at the very beginning of this, it was very clear that he was done. It's in the ground. I put this thing out into the world. Why would there be a permission slip? I open the box after all this effort. I don't take a selfie. I open the box, and there's a note where I gotta call Mr. Fenn, and we're lucky. How that seems so ludicrous to me. Did I have to get permission?
And the one thing that for me would end this debate was the fact that, okay, for legalities, he needed permission to bring it back to Fenn or have it be a transfer of legal property. But I went into this a little bit last night. I dug back into the code. It's very fucking simple. All of this, give it back to the owner, proper transfer of property, all of that works under one condition. And that one condition is this property wasn't abandoned on purpose in a national park. If the property was abandoned on purpose in a national park, the rest of those rules no longer apply. It is
remove the national park. Remove the national park and just made your life easier. It's on BLM land. Now take it all you want. You can take a rock.
Hold up.
You can cut down a tree. You're not going to go to jail.
But that's not the argument I'm making, because my argument goes away if it's BLM land. This is only on National Forest Service land. If it was found on National Forest Service land, it could not be abandoned on purpose to begin with. Otherwise, the law has already been broken. So even if you find the chest, it's not yours because the law was broke initially by Fenn by abandoning it on purpose. That's how.
So he leaves a note in there saying that he who finds it gets to keep it, bypassing the law. Is that what
he who finds it gets to keep it if it was abandoned on accident. It becomes abandoned property if property was left on accident. Then the national park deems it abandoned property in the legal sense of the term. And now if the finder gets it, they have to bring it to the superintendent. They have to wait 60 days for the superintendent to locate the owner. And then if they can't locate the owner, it becomes property of the finder. That's the way the code works. Now, the code was broken on the first step. If Fenn left a chest on purpose on national forest land in a national park and then wrote a poem about it, proving that he left it on purpose, it doesn't matter that he was tired and weak why he left it. Maybe that was him trying to get through a legal loophole using the poem. It doesn't fucking matter. It was left on purpose. The Forest Service wins. That's their chest.
Okay, that's if it was on those properties. If it's BLM,
right? But if
why
BLM,
do I still don't need to? There's no right.
Yeah. If it's
so
BLM
that's why I'm
land,
saying that it doesn't make
BLM
sense
land,
that
we're
he's
back
got to
to
call.
normal
He's got to get permission
circumstances.
because how at the very beginning of this 10 years ago would Forrest think that he would be alive to leave a note to say, hey, give me a ring So I say it's just okay to pick that up and take it on to your hotel and start getting it cleaned off with those towels. You know what I mean? It
Hey, by the
seems to
way-
be a odd thing, very odd.
Using the hotel towels to clean the coins is rough.
Yeah.
Does it
but
work?
I would do it
Yes,
too.
because there are coin experts who will say you can just use a soft cloth,
Yeah.
but they will say that you need to use a certain kind of water. You can't just use tap water. The
Yep.
ingredients in tap water would affect the coins. So I would assume maybe his trip to Walmart was to buy alkalized water to properly clean the coins with and use hotel towels for. In fact,
How
it
do you
actually
think
gives
that-
me a reason why he would go to Walmart.
Ah,
But I do want to
besides getting
address.
a box of
Sorry?
wine. Yeah. Well, Walmart, that's where you get your box of wine in Casper, right?
Right. So he's going to get his wine, and then he's going to get his alkalized water to wash the coins with. K-Pro mentioned a good point. National Forest and National Park are different. This is
Yep.
where chill Sundays have taken its toll on me. She's absolutely right.
Oh, yeah.
National Park is what I'm referring to, not National Forest. If I said National Forest in my rant, I'm meaning National Park. So I only specifically meant National Park. Rudy is saying Jack cleaned the coins. I don't remember that.
Yep.
I believe, Rudy, Jack said, I think in emails, he said he cleaned the chest and used a bunch of towels in either a medium article or, Jack gets
No, it was in the
follow-up.
It was in the
But-
email. It
right.
was in the emails. Yeah. Just saw that
The
yesterday.
email that I thought I read, and I could be wrong here, but the email that I thought I read said that he actually cleaned the coins themselves. Again, look at the coins with Fenn and Jack when they're looking at on the desk. Those coins are cleaned.
Yeah, they've been cleaned.
So whether Jack cleaned those or
But it's
someone else
gold. It
did
doesn't
before
take
the
a lot,
photos,
right?
someone cleaned them.
Not just the chest.
It's just interesting, the little details, right? There's no selfie. The fact that he says there's some kind of note just doesn't make sense to me at all. I just think that's contrived. But I'm really happy that Jack is communicating. This guy doesn't have to do any communicating to anybody ever. He didn't even have to let us know he found it. So we gotta. From that perspective, I'm grateful for any kind of communication at all from this guy. You know what I mean?
I totally, completely agree. And I would hope that Jack has some different points of view on different personalities in the chase. I would hope that with us, when I say us, I mean those of us who question what he says, but accepts the ramifications of those questions, or accepts that the question itself was inherently false to even ask. And I think that's how most of us here look at it when it comes to Jack quotes. We're not trying to gotcha Jack, but we are trying to be diligent with the way we're, corroborating your story that you won't give us complete information on. So, we get into moments here where, Rudy is saying, I think it was just the chest cleaning off the dirt off the outside. I agree with Rudy. That was my take on it as well for the longest time. And K-Pro agrees with you as well. But I believe that I read something, and this is Chill Sunday.
Yeah.
So, I'm not by my computer and all that, but I believe Jack stated that he also cleaned the coins. And if that's true, if he cleaned the coins, that's tricky business. He might be an English major, but he doesn't know how to handle antiques. I can guarantee you that, whether he thinks he does or not.
It's a trip. It's really great that he's communicating.
Yes.
It's just the stuff that he said that he did right around finding it runs contrary to most people's ideas of what they would do. I go and leave it overnight and drink a bunch of wine, hungover, take my time, go back out, retrieve it, don't take it. It's just a bunch of little oddness that get with that flow of things, which
I agree.
just run contrary to everyone's intuition.
Someone brought up a good point to me, because I was on Thor hammering this one right away when it came out. I went to Walmart, I drank wine, I went to a national park. So someone did mention to me on Walmart, hey, it's COVID, public restrooms. Maybe he went to the bathroom because he couldn't do it at a gas station or a Wendy's or a McDonald's anymore. because those restrooms were shut off to the public. I went, oh, fuck. You know what? During COVID, I have to say that's probably accurate. It was probably difficult to get into a public restroom driving back from Wyoming to New Mexico at that point in time. So, you know, I don't know what was going on with all of it, but it was strange to me. You're paranoid to the fact that someone might be watching you. They put a fake blaze 1,000 feet away. You didn't have to state this. I wouldn't be saying it if you didn't say it, Jack, but you yourself said you were paranoid to the point of even opening it. You thought someone was watching you. Whether or not you did actually think someone was watching you put it in the story, Jack. So if you're going to do that, and then you tell me you lollygagged to Walmart, and then you lollygagged yourself to another national park, or a national park, as you put it. Did he say another national park, or did he say I went to a national park? Because there's a huge difference, right? If he said I went to another, it implies he was already in one. I think he just said I stopped at a national park on the way down. Why? There's plenty of time.
That's not hard to do, and
it's not hard to do, but
it's not hard to do on the way down. It's
right.
I can see stopping just to kind of chill out.
You're going to drive through. You're going to drive through a few national parks. I get it. So go outside, have a sandwich at another national park. There's no need to tell us, the audience, that unless it's important to the thrill of the chase. Right. So I kind of think whatever national park he did go to, he's almost daring us to figure out where it was, because that national park had something to do with the find. Maybe that's where the first clue was. Maybe where Warm Waters Halt is at one national park in Wyoming, and the final clue is at another national park in Wyoming. And so he went back to the beginning at the end of this whole thing with the chest and sat there for a while. In fact, I just came up with that. I like it. Jack, did you start where Warm Waters Halt at another national park, and you decided to go back to the beginning with the chest to fulfill T.S. Eliot to the fullest degree? If you did, email me at benibelieveyoujack.com.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
I don't know.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Rudy is 99.9% sure.
I don't know about.
Rudy says he's 99.9% sure that he didn't clean the coins. Fair enough. I think I have to side with Rudy and K-Pro. They seem very, very sure of that, I will say. I'll go back and look into it.
I thought that wasn't that in your emails that he was using the towels to kind of just clean the dirt off?
This is why I got to go back to my computer. I can't remember if it was on one of my emails or another email that I had read from him, from a different source. So it's something I want to go back and check, but I will side right now with K-Pro and Rudy and just go, okay, I must be wrong here, but I'm going to double check. So
it sounds like
tap
a
water going
completely
to harm the coins?
Reasonable thing to do, though, right? I mean, if you're on your way to the lawyer's office, you're gonna just kind of wipe.
You think
the dirt
you want to
off.
clean it up? It's not even that crazy an idea to think that he did clean off the coins.
Not a big deal at all.
I mean, those coins look clean in the photos with Jack and
just
and
leave
Fenn. Can we at least
a
all
big
agree
dirty
on that?
towel, leave a big tip, and you're out, right? I mean, that's it.
Is tap water going to harm the coins more than chilling in the wilderness for 10 years? I mean, it's a fair point, but anyone with those coins in their physical possession, no longer worried about the wilderness for 10 years, is not going to use tap water if they have a different kind.
Yeah, you're just going to rub the dirt off.
Actually,
just dust it off with towels, right?
People who do this are patient people. They're not going to use the wrong form of water that they know could corrode, even to a.
It's not like he's scrubbing and polishing. He's just wiping dirt off. Big difference.
Right.
You know
he's
what
just
I mean?
wiping dirt off, but still, he's not going to use tap water for that if he knows what he's doing. He'll go to Walmart and buy some alkali water and use that. It's not hard.
Yeah, if not even that, you just rub the dust off. You know what I mean?
Or you could simply just rub the dust off too. I mean, that's what I would have done. If I'm not going to use water, I would have just rubbed the dust off to the best of my ability.
That's it. I think that's what I read. Then he said he left a bunch of dirty towels and he left a big tip. That's what I read. I think it was on Facebook. One of the treasure things, somebody had posted up the email that they had gotten. And I think they posted it up, and that was one of the things that he said, which is trivial. I mean, right on. Obviously, that's what you're going to do, right? I mean, have a glass of wine and clean your fucking treasure.
K-Pro said Jack didn't say another. Good catch. So, okay, so he just said he went to a national park. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't go to one before, but it just shows us that Jack is careful of his words in case he did go to a national park prior. If he didn't say another, he just said he went to one. So, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, somewhere in this story, I think I agree. I think there is a crazy twist or turn that isn't being shared with us yet that would make a lot of this make sense. I do believe if it's not a crazy conspiracy, that there is a twist or turn that's been hidden from us that would explain all of the plot holes that we're seeing. Some of these plot holes are wrong and we're just wrong on them, but some of these plot holes are correct. And I think whatever the real story is will illuminate the correct plot holes and explain them at the same time. It's kind of just what I'm thinking off the cuff here.
Hey, thanks for my archaeology questions. I had to know. You know what I mean?
Oh no,
So,
for sure. And like I said, I want to get deeper into it. I just gotta get there first. Looking off just images, I know how my gut reaction is, and I'm no longer an archaeologist, and it's okay. But before I say anything, I need to go see the site myself. I know that's what my former colleagues would say to me. Specifically, even if they're going to listen to me, they're going to be, "Hey Ben, did you go look? If you didn't go look, shut the fuck up, man." So I gotta go look, even though I all your videos make sense. I even looked into it a little bit more. I've Google mapped the area. Like I almost forest fend the area, and I go, no, there's something here. There's something going on. You know, one solstice you could say maybe is a coincidence, but when you set up the solstice twice to hit a rock inside on the winter solstice, also you're making a point. I completely agree. So we will get into that. I promise you. If I don't go to see him in the next month, more than likely it's going to be during the NFL season because he works for the 49ers. So I will.
You got it.
I might be able to get. I might be getting some 49er tickets, and if that's the case, I will.
Santa Clara, right?
Yeah.
Is that Santa Clara?
It's in Santa Clara. San Francisco. 49ers.
Okay, so from Santa Clara to the rock is 35 to 40-minute drive.
Speaking my language, man. Speaking my language.
And I know where the deli is on the way up on to Skyline Boulevard, where you can get the sandwich. Where you go up, have a look around, smoke a bowl, have a nosh. It's a nice day.
Isn't it nice that you can just go out there and smoke a bowl? You can go out there, smoke a bowl, and not get in trouble for it. Isn't that nice?
Oh no, they'll give you shit. It's a state park. They'll give you shit.
Oh,
but not as much shit as they used to.
God, they'll just tell you to stop
because you can't have any fire.
They won't arrest you.
It's the fire.
It's the fire.
If it's in a pen, you're fine. But if you'll actually light the bowl, they get a little nasty, right? But otherwise,
I would probably just bring a pen with me and not want to get into it with them. But it's nice though, isn't it?
There's believe me, there is not a lot of money, so there's only like one ranger, so he's not hanging out at rock. He's one ranger of the entire Skyline area. So they're way underfunded and they don't know anything about what's going on.
Right,
there.
I was gonna say
so
they've been underfunded for years, and it's just
gotten worse. To get you there. We got there's no money, so we got to get Google involved because they're rich. That'd be the best, man.
Yeah, I mean I'm
gonna go eat dinner.
All right, are you out of here?
I'm gonna go eat dinner. Bro's got to eat dinner. I'm gonna eat dinner. Thanks everybody.
Good night, Davio.
5 Leaf, everybody. Ciao. Who else? Who's in there? Gary. Gary loves me, man. I got to tell him he's got to really embrace the whole 42 concept, man. number your poem. All right.
Well, now that you're going to be running off, I'm going to hijack your 42 and turn it back into the TV show Lost. I'm still convinced this dude watched the TV show Lost. The numbers of Lost keep popping up in this thing.
It's funny how in Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams actually says, "Well, I give it a 42, but it's not as good as Byron." He actually says 42 in the very first part of Dead Poets. How fucking funny is that? Just
it is.
To throw that
well, when was the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy written?
Exactly. When his daughters were teenagers, that's what they were reading. Right?
Yeah. I see you, W.
See you, man. Ciao.
All right, man. See you, dude. Well, babe, what do you want to do? Keep this thing going? Call it a day? Anybody talking anything interesting or? Let's check the chat.
What's the questions in the chat? If you have any questions you want to ask, topics you want to talk about, we're here.
42 videos on Carrie. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not just 42. The number 4, the number 8, the number 15, the number 23, and the numbers 42 all pop up in this chase numerous times, to the point where Fenn goes, hey, by the way, my parents are buried at site 4, plot 23, or whatever, how he puts it, but he uses 4 and 23. Those are the two most important in Lost. Then again, if you haven't seen Lost, the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, they add up to 108. And if you're telling me you haven't seen 108 in this chase, you haven't looked hard enough. So the Lost numbers are all over the place. Now, Lost was getting into Buddhist territory. Maybe that's where Fenn's getting into, is Buddhist territory. I don't know. Davio might want to hop back on and talk it. So we'll see. We'll see if Davio has counterpoints to the Lost numbers. But I think if anything, it points to Lost. Not even GPS, just Lost. Because there's themes in Lost that match this chase. There's Jackie Robinson. I see that, Tom. Yeah, but it's baseball.
But how could Lost help you solve the poem?
Huh?
How could Lost help you solve the poem, though? Everything has to do with Lost. Like, what Losty thing is helping you?
Listen, if I knew that, I would have found the chest. I don't know what it has to do with anything. I think that's the point of this crazy shit. We can all find things that this stuff matches on, even in pop culture. I mean, Davio's usage of numbers still leads him to all sorts of pop culture songs and movies, and it's frankly, it's from his generation. I think Davio would admit that. And also, not Fenn's generation. Fenn would even be before that, but would he use pop culture, even if it's what I think like Lost? Would he use pop culture in a way? Oh, there's my drink. Would he use pop culture in a way where he thinks that's going to last for 100 or 1,000 years? I don't know. I don't think pop culture is something we can even use.
But I do think if you think about it, if you just think about it this way, if we were creating some kind of chase, we would bury the treasure and we were going to give people clues. Are we influenced by the things that we've watched, our childhood, the time
Sure.
period so there could be influences that maybe you pick up on that might not be outright hints, I think.
Well, then I think if we were going to do interviews like Forrest Fenn on a hunt like that, we would say something to the effect of, all the things that could help you may or may not exist in the future, but they certainly existed now. That would be my roundabout way of saying, listen, it's pop culture from now. I don't know if Lost is going to be available to stream in the year 2030 or 2130. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's going to be available. So how could I say, I know my chase will last 1,000 years? It might get harder, but I'm not thinking short term. I'm thinking long term. Well, if I'm thinking long term, then I better know for sure my pop culture references are going to be long term, right?
I like that though, what you're saying. That you don't know if they're going to be around in the future, but the things that were around when I was here. I meaning the person that's creating.
And Fenn almost does the opposite of that, doesn't he? He goes, well, some of the clues existed when I thought of the poem or wrote the poem or whatever he says, but some of the clues didn't. So he almost borders on this kind of territory. And a lot of people associate when he says clue with some physical geographical location. So it's a little easier to understand what he's saying. If we were, in our hunt is a clue the same as what Fenn calls a clue, we have to be careful with the verbiage there. But
I think I said hint.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, see, then my fault.
I did say clue the wrong way earlier. You corrected me, but this time I thought about it and I said hint.
I see. Let's see. I'm gonna hop in the chat and see. Blah blah blah. Dark side of the moon. Blah, blah, blah. Some people are talking about just hacking each other here. I don't know what's going on. It must be
I'm missing some of that.
The end. What is more disappointing, the end of The Thrill of the Chase or the end of Lost? Vertigo, I would challenge you to tell me what the ending of Lost was. For real, let's do this again. What's the ending of Lost? Honestly, type in the ending of Lost. If you don't want to be spoiled and think that this person is going to be correct, just look away. And if they were correct, I will remove the comment. Lost jumped the shark well before the ending. I mean, that's just like, hold on. That's just like your opinion, man. Let's see here. Let's see if Vertigo actually tells me what the ending of Lost was. I'm waiting. That's all I'm going to wait for at this juncture. Redneck hasn't seen it. Redneck, I suggest you see it. It's a fun show. But I will wait for you, my
You know
friend
what, you guys?
Vertigo.
You know what we just started watching? Which is there another episode on tonight?
So hold on. Tom says the purgatory part was leaked so early. First of all, purgatory ain't it, bro. It's not what it was. So it's not purgatory, first of all. What leaked early on the show was the concept that the island itself was purgatory, and that the events happening on the island weren't happening in real time. They were happening in the afterlife, and specifically purgatory. That was incorrect. Everything that happened on the island was real, happened in the real lives of the characters. So that's right, blown out of the water. Second of all, the concept of purgatory is maybe explained in this show, but it's certainly not called purgatory. There is a definitive term for what the show explores, and it's a specific religious term, but it ain't purgatory. It's not a Judeo-Christian thought, which purgatory is. Or at
You
least,
smarty.
I have a last question you won't be able to answer. Why didn't Hurley ever lose weight on the island? Actually, the show itself answers that, Carrie. Hurley finds that there are drops of food by parachute that happens sporadically over time on the island. The Dharma Initiative was dropping food crates for the employees that were working there. And the Dharma Initiative was wiped out in the show, except the food crates kept coming. And Hurley was the first one to find said food crates. So he remained the weight that he was because he continued to eat in secret. And then by the time that was over, the people on the island had met up with other people on the island in which food was not an issue. So the show actually does answer that, Carrie. Fenn would have
Did
been
they-
Sawyer. Sorry?
Did they write it that way? Like, was
No,
that
that's
how they wanted
that's
it?
how it was intricately written. They even have a character ask Hurley, "Man, we've been on this island for 3 weeks. How have you not lost a single pound?"
Did Sawyer
someone
say
asked
that?
them. Sawyer says that.
Yeah.
Michael says that to him, and Hurley goes, "Hey, by the way, for the record, I've dropped a belt size. It's going to be a while before you can put me and piggyback me, or it's going to be a while before you can give me a piggyback ride."
I remember that.
And that was before the food drops were discovered. So before the food drops were discovered, Hurley actually was starting to lose weight, and the show addresses it. Fenn would have been Sawyer. Would Fenn have been Sawyer, a con artist, a grifter? I certainly seem to think so. If Fenn was a single man and didn't have a family, then yeah, he would have been Sawyer. I think I would agree with that. Carrie, LOL. Ben is good. Okay, I admit I'm wrong. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. I invite anyone to try to bring up Lost with me.
Hey.
Even if you think you have an interpretation of the show, I would love to see if it's the correct interpretation, because for a while it seemed like it was a show you could just interpret. But again, the writer came out in June of 2020 and said, nope, there was a specific meaning to this. And, good on you if you found it, and sorry if you didn't. I was one of those who understood it. I wrote a fucking college paper about it. Anywho, we're talking Lost now. I'm over it.
You're over it?
Well, I mean,
You love Lost. You can talk Lost all the time.
I know, but I just know it's an old show. It bothers people. They all think they have this idea of the show. And by the way, you can understand the ending of Lost and still hate it. I agree. Like, let me be on camera, on record for that. You can like a show or not like a show as long as you've seen the whole show. That's my stance. If you haven't seen the whole show, you can say, hey, it didn't grab my attention. It didn't get me. And that's it. But you can't say the show sucks or anything like that. You didn't see the whole show. You don't know. And with Lost, most people haven't seen the whole show. They quit. They said, oh, I got lost. Or, okay, but you didn't see the whole show. So you don't know what happened.
Those, especially those who are saying they don't like Lost, like what is your idea of a great show? Mr. Echo was awesome. He's one of my son's favorites.
Mr. Echo was awesome. Davio, Tom Sawyer. Yep. I mean, that's kind of what the Sawyer character came from somebody else who named himself Sawyer, and he did get it from, books in general. Of Mice and Men was brought up a couple of times in the show. Grapes of Wrath was brought up a couple of times in the show. John Steinbeck himself was brought up a few times. So Tom Sawyer certainly was the incarnation of the name Sawyer, but if you actually pay attention into the show, that wasn't the incarnation for the character that Josh Holloway was in taking the name Sawyer. It had nothing to do with the book. Would Dale be John Locke? Ooh, see, that's where I go. Is Forrest Fenn just John Locke? I don't know if Forrest Fenn was Sawyer or not. There's certainly the con artist side of it. John Locke was a character that was troubled, a character that was tragic, a character that believed in the magical. Could he have been John Locke? I think so. I mean, John Locke is the guy on Lost who shows up with 300 knives in checked baggage and was ready to go on his own walkabout in Australia and live on his own. So the John Locke character certainly was interesting. Okay, I dare you to explain where Westworld is going. Okay, hold on. So I profess myself to be a Lost expert. This is where I'm going to double down and say I'm just a television expert, and I will get into Westworld with you, Mark. Gladly, we will stay on just for that. Westworld is a show in the first season, as I'm pouring my drink here. Westworld's first season was, I wouldn't say incredible, but I would say that first season was quite remarkable. It was an open and outright challenge to the internet without saying it was. It was a puzzle meant to be solved. And while a storyline was still happening, with a thematic idea that was quite captivating, the show itself, that first season, stuck to its hype and was phenomenal. I did predict the twist of that first season 2 episodes in, and I wrote about it on Reddit and had that time stamped. But I found it, even seeing it happen and being proven right, I didn't feel as if I lost out on, there's no wow factor. It was still a wow factor to see it happen. Season 2 is a different story.
What season are we on?
Westworld just finished its 3rd season a year ago or so, maybe even 2 years ago. I can't remember. The 2nd season was an outright challenge to Reddit in particular. Okay, I wasn't the only one to figure out the twist in season 1 and episode 2. There were plenty. The season 2, the writers essentially, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. They essentially even said in an interview before the season started, this is a challenge. You got us in season 1. You won't figure us out in season 2. And so the show became, to me, more about the writers trying to make sure they could outwit the audience than actually caring about the story itself. And it suffered tremendously because of that. And a lot of people quit in season 2. Unfortunately for them who quit and the writers who made this, they, in season 2, wrote a phenomenally beautiful episode called Akacheta, and it still ranks to me as one of the best episodes of television ever. But you had to have been into the whole of season 2 to really understand what was going on in that episode. And by then, so many people had quit. So season 2 ends. There's a twist. I don't think anyone technically predicted it because there was like 17 facets to the twist that half the people none of us could have ever known. The writers outthought themselves. Then season 3 happens and they kind of go back to old school season 1 storytelling, pace, tone, the meta, but it fails. It's boring. It's introducing characters we don't care about. And it really started to lose its heart in season 3. I'm still in. I still love the concept of Westworld. I've seen the original movie. I love the show itself. I have fun when I watch a new episode. Even if I'm not having fun with the season in general and it seems like it's going off the rails, let's think about it. There's not much there's not much else out there that's on that's also good. So I'll watch a shitty episode of Westworld over, I don't know, some random new show on Netflix. So I'm still in with Westworld. They really either need to shorten the show down. I think they were hinting at doing things like 8 or 9 seasons. They're out of their fucking minds if that's what they're going to do. They need to shorten this shit down. They need to lock in an end date, and they need to announce the end date just like Lost a few years in advance and tell us, hey, there's going to be 6 seasons. We're on season 4, so you can understand where we are in the story. They need to do that or stop trying to outsmart us and
or do what they're going to rumored to be doing and just do a ton of seasons, and we're all just not going to give a shit anymore. So that's my rant on Westworld. Good enough rant, I think.
Yeah, what season are we on? What season am I
You
on?
got to mute that if you're going to be next to me.
I gotta charge.
You're on season 2.
Not like that from your rant.
Season 2 is still fun. I still want. You're muted, by the way. I still want to watch season 2 with you. But are we right next to each other and we're showing? Is this shit echoing? You got to mute. I can still hear that. Then I want your top 5 movies. Oof. Okay, top 5 movies. Are you asking me my top 5 movies, like in terms of what I think are just the best ever movies, or my top 5 movies that I personally love and adore and would want to take with me to an island? Like if I can only take 5 movies with me to an island, those aren't necessarily my top 5 movies of all time. So before I answer that question, I do want you to specify. Mark Lewis, I don't got a TV, or else I would try and catch up. Well, Mark, hopefully you have a phone. You can watch on your phone, right? I mean, we do live in 2021. I would hook up to some free Wi-Fi and download to the phone and then check it out. I look at it. Lavender Blonde retracts a message as I'm starting to look at it. I can't see what it was. Y'all are so sneaky in the chase. Just like Mark, yep, season 2 is where it seemed to die. Agreed. That's where it seemed to die. Honestly, season 2, they just fucked it up. Dab 30, I'm out. Well, all right, Riverette. Okay, top 5 before 2000. Well, that really doesn't answer what I was asking for, but I'm just going to go ahead with it. Top 5 before the year 2000. I will start with. Fuck. You know what? I'm going to do it my way. Top 5 movies I would take with me to an island before the year 2000. Top 5 movies just ever made. Back to the Future, Part 2, I would take with me. Indiana Jones Part 1 and 3, I would take with me. So those are 3 movies. Fight Club, movie number 4. Forrest Gump, movie number 5. Those are the 5 movies that don't fucking make that face. Those are the 5 movies I would take with me, made before the year 2000. And I'm probably leaving off just tremendously better movies, but those are my instincts. Now, the top 5 movies ever made before the year 2000, I have to start with Shawshank Redemption, number 1, but I'll go back to 5, I think. Number 5, Pulp Fiction. Number 4, Usual Suspects. Number 3, E.T. Number 2, I'm saying top 5 movies. Number 2, Forrest Gump. Number 1, Shawshank Redemption. What are your top 5 movies ever made?
My face is only because I can't even think about 5 movies. Like how you can think about top movies and then before the year 2000. Dude, get that out of there, man. I can't even think. I don't even know.
Davio with Multipass, a great reference to The Fifth Element. And Fifth Element would be certainly in the top 10 somewhere. I don't know if it'd be 6 or 9 or 10, but it would certainly be in there for sure. Lost Boys, another great movie. However, I will say it does feel a little bit more dated the more I watch it. The last time I watched Lost Boys was probably about 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, I'm starting to struggle with it. So I don't know if it's holding up to the test of time, but maybe I'm off. Heavy Tarantino, I agree. I mean, look, I put Pulp Fiction there, but replace that with Reservoir Dogs. Replace that with you could replace it with True Romance. Little known Tarantino written flick. Didn't direct it, but he wrote it, and it was fantastic. Or at least he wrote the screenplay. It was fantastic. There's lots of movies I think we could replace. Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, yeah, okay. So I could have gone into the classics. I could have said Casablanca. But I find a lot of those movies are starting to date themselves. I don't know about you. If you say you've seen Casablanca recently, congratulations to you. But I've moved on. If we could do post 2000 as well, the top 5 movies made after the year 2000. I'll just jump in and do that. I will say that's tough. I haven't thought about it too much, but Inception would I would put number one Inception just in terms of my favorite, but shit, it's actually harder to do after the year 2000. The Dark Knight would be in that top 5.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, so in no specific order, The Dark Knight, Inception, The Matrix, maybe Inglourious Bastards, but probably actually no, I would take that out. Not Inglourious Bastards. So we have Inception, The Matrix, and The Dark Knight. God, I know there's been a couple of movies in the last 10 years that have blown me away. What the hell were they? I love Peanut Butter Falcon, but I don't know if I'd put that in anybody's top 5. Shit. It's actually a lot harder to think of post 2000.
I'm telling you, it's hard to think of any.
I might need like some help in here. Transcendence, meh. Transcendence is fine. It's fine. It's just me.
I've never seen Transcendence.
28. Jen's Ezer 24-hour photo with Robin Williams.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
What a fantastic movie that is. I mean, I'm gonna hop back on camera for this one. 24-hour photo is so good. And if you've ever questioned Robin Williams's what's the term I'm looking for? How far he can stretch, but
Talent.
Yeah, but if you questioned his range?
Yeah, his range.
Whew, go watch 24-hour photo. Holy shit. I also, speaking of Rob Williams, I love another dramatic movie of his. I love What Dreams May Come. I always thought that was a great movie. Matrix was 99. Oh, good shit, Shiny. You're right. Matrix was 99, which means I have to put it back into the pre-2000. And I would probably kick off Usual Suspects for The Matrix. I would replace Usual Suspects with The Matrix. That's probably what I would do. Ex Machina, meh, it was good. Ex Machina was good, but I wasn't that impressed with it.
Goodfellas is one of my all-time favorites. That just changed. That
Goodfellas is a movie I would just watch.
Yeah,
like if that was on, I'm gonna watch it.
I liked it. Like I just like cinematically, that movie changed me. Like just the directing and the filming of that, like as a kid,
Yeah,
impacted me.
I would agree with Goodfellas. Same with Casino.
Mm-hmm.
If Casino's on, I'm watching Casino anytime. Although if it's on TBS or like TNT, no, I'm not watching it. I don't need to see Joe Pesci say "you mother flipper" or "you mother." I need to hear him say "you motherfucker." Like I need to hear that. So I would be very angry at the dubbed version of that shit. So like Casino, Goodfellas, it has to be. I have to see it on like HBO to be into that. I'm dying. I need charge. We're gonna go till these die. How about that? That's what we'll do. What's up, Jay? What's your favorite movie?
Same question over and over again. We've talked about this, right?
Let's go to the chat. See what's going on. What other good movies? Love Actually. Love Actually is a great movie. Good night, Jason. Good to have you in here again. And Jason, if anybody was talking shit to you on chats, I don't know. We don't like that drama here. We don't give a shit, right? We stand above it. Someone said something, and I even said, "Hey, go back and look at what Jason was saying. He was in between thoughts, blah blah blah." So, anyway, I think this is a good time to maybe end it.
We're gonna die. Battery.
We're gonna die of batteries here. I think we're good.
But now I want to watch a movie tonight. What should we watch tonight?
Well, okay, so let's go off maybe a movie recommendation from chat if they have one. Otherwise, I will recommend something and we'll just watch that. So, what are we in the mood for? Comedy or action? We watched that. What was it? Tomorrow War?
Yeah, we watched that the other night.
Ugh, that was all right. It's pretty ugh.
It was okay. It was so long.
It was just it was dumb.
Yeah,
Just the
it was.
situations that forced other situations. It was like, come on, this is stupid. Even in a sci-fi blah 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 movie.
And I love Chris Pratt.
Good, man. Tough skin. I appreciate that, Jason. Robin Hood Men in Tights, fantastic. Agreed. But seen it too many times. We're not gonna watch it now. Thriller. Jesus Christ, Galaxy. Shag. Is that
that a movie? I've never heard shag. Shall we shag now or
Except for
shag
the shaggy
later?
dog.
All right. Well, you guys aren't even coming up with good movie suggestions. I'm gonna give it like 30 more seconds because there's a delay. And if there's not, we're just gonna do our own thing. Any more Fenn thoughts or anything? What we're gonna do here is rely on K-Pro in her stream tomorrow and see what she has to unveil to the world. What?
Sugar.
Sugar ate a burger. Well, I left him there for her to look. Let's see how guilty Sugar is. Sugar. Did you eat that burger, Sugar? Did you eat that burger, Sugar?
She tried. You guys should have seen her. She jumped. I watched her. She jumped right up by the grill, jumped up, grabbed the burger. It's now on the floor. Look at this. This dog.
What are you gonna do? Look, she sees a juicy cheeseburger. She's gonna go for it. All right, so we're gonna call this a night. Like I said, check out K-Pro tomorrow. We will be back Saturday, unless we do an after party for K-Pro tomorrow. Which, god dang, I don't know if I can do 3 days in a row of this. But hopefully Candy's feeling better. Maybe she'll do something tomorrow. But she's coming out of the fucking woods here, so she might be a while before she joins back on with us. In the YouTube world. So, whether it's just K-Pro tomorrow, whatevs. But Saturday for sure we'll be back, and Sunday we'll be back next week as well. So strike first and strike hard. Anything else, babe?